And I'm here with a bit of a music legend, a bit of a local legend, Corey Friedlander. So fucking happy to have you here, bro.
Thank you, my G.
Damn.
I'm happy to be here.
Let's cheers this.
Let's do it. Cheers,
to
bro.
music and to a healthy life.
Hey, I like that. Cheers.
So,
Beautiful beer, this one.
well, yeah, that goes out. Shout out to Black Sands for that.
Yo.
I'm sure they'll love that. Fuck, man. I don't even know where to start with you. You've done so much stuff. It's crazy. And what's even stranger is I've heard about your name over the years, but I've known about you since I was in high school.
Sweet.
Since Idred Response and back then. And, oh gosh. Come on, Scott. What's the song name? And it's like the music video you guys like all in the car park, and there's a lot of tremolo picking.
We want to know the secret to that video?
What's the secret?
It is in the place I have my studio.
Really?
And it is in a level of the Storage King. Shout out Storage King. That is no longer as it was in that video. It's now been filled in with units.
Wow.
So we got in there, and I actually did a couple videos there. It was like the go-to spot. We did that with, what's his name? Anthony Plant, I think was his name. Does that sound right? Yeah. And he did a great job. Ooh, that got nice and loud.
Yes. I realized I had to just crank you up a little bit. I wanted to hear more of you.
All right.
Keep going.
Cool. Am I too close?
No, bro. You're cool where you are.
All right. So, so that video won an award as well. A Juice TV award or something.
My gosh.
And that
Juice
was
TV.
Yeah, that was a cool time. You remember Juice TV?
I certainly do.
I miss all that
Juice
stuff.
TV.
Hey, C4, Juice TV.
Simpler times, it feels
Yeah,
like,
it was
in
different.
some ways.
The young kids don't know.
No, I feel like with there was just a special time. I think I hate to be like the old days, but it's just like
The good old days.
It's just one of those things with I think local music just being. It's kind of coming back now, which is really nice because there's a lot of mediums to help promote artists. But there was kind of like this. I don't know if you found this in like maybe the mid 2010s. Kind of a lot of those sorts of like I don't know. Local music mediums of promotion kind of like started falling off, and like there wasn't as much focus on New Zealand music unless you were Lord or something.
That is true.
Because you guys being in like technical death metal, and then you're in Foot Sativa as well, drumming for them, and even like City of Souls, like that's definitely more of a slightly more radio friendly band.
Yeah, you can say commercial.
You could
That's
say
fine,
say commercial.
That was the goal. Yeah.
Well,
You wanted to get radio
I'm just
play.
comparing it to Dread Response,
It's quite the. Well, the funny thing is, a few members were.
I
from
know
that band.
that's right. But what I find like interesting is like when I look back of like was a lot of music in New Zealand, regardless of the genre, would be kind of at the forefront. There was reggae bands, there was hip hop acts, there was metal, there was rock. It was just like there was a place for everybody, and sort of like you could like I don't know, it just felt like it was in the conversation a lot. Like people, I don't know, like there was a lot of bands. A lot of New Zealand music that people would talk about often. Like, even a Big Day Out, there'd be like a local stage, if you remember.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would always turn up early.
Yeah.
8 foot before I joined the band at 17, I was the biggest fan of the band. And I would purposely turn up early because I think it was one particular year they opened. And another year, what's the other band? Chuggernaut. You ever remember Chuggernaut? They opened as well.
I don't remember them.
Which later became Nail's band.
Oh, okay.
Of Devilskin. He's from Chuggernaut. Yeah, so
Wow.
he's done a few things as well.
True.
And we had our own band. I don't know if you've heard of Beckoned. We did a song, Luminous.
Yes.
Which
Yes,
is
I have heard.
filmed in my studio.
Damn.
Yeah.
dude.
It was before I converted it to an actual recording studio. And at the time, it was still kind of in bits and pieces. I had constructed a few, like, I guess you could say 2x4s, just kind of not super glued, but almost. Because I'm no builder. I'm into the DIY, but you bring a builder and like, what the hell is going on here? But
You're talking to someone that I'm like Kiwi DIY.
That's
I
the
got
Kiwi way,
I got
yeah.
no idea, but I'll fucking try.
you find your way and you get the resources you can,
Yeah.
the scraps from your friends, all the free materials,
100%.
secondhand shit.
Oh,
and you just do it.
even this space, like it's very basic, but like even the dumbest things I've done. I tried to build like a fake roof in here.
Did you?
Oh, bro,
Dude,
it was bad.
I admire that.
It was bad. I had all this plywood. I just bought like all these like timber posts and stuff.
Yep.
And it was a disaster. But I was all about
But it was
the
fun
attempt.
until the Empire collapsed.
It was fun until I put it up, and then originally it was called the Only Scots, and the other guy who came, he was just like, "What the fuck have you done?" And then because I had no support in the middle, I
He
was
demanded
like,
it be taken down, did he?
Yeah,
He's
well,
like, this is not right.
well, you just start seeing it sag in the middle, and you're just like,
He didn't feel safe in there, huh?
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody would have felt safe in there.
I would have felt safe in there.
I don't think you would have.
I would have just done it.
Damn, bro.
I would have showed you.
You're a
the way.
warrior.
I would have put up a force field.
Force field?
Yep, and that alone would have kept us safe.
How do you put a force field up? I gotta learn this.
I'll have to
magic.
teach
This
you
dark,
these special.
That's some dark magic.
Well, darker
Or
light.
is this drummer magic? I don't know.
This is potentially something we can discuss off camera.
I'll talk about it later.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The ways of the human ability that we sometimes don't realize we're capable of. And I guess you could break it down to a quantum level. Every thought you think actually creates a vibration sent to the universe. It's called the observer effect. So it does actually put out these little, I guess you could say people can see auras or shit like that,
Yeah.
Same thing.
That's true. I always find that sometimes when you meet certain people and you don't really need them to say much, and you're just like something will tell you like, ooh,
The gut feel, the instinct.
whether the instinct or just if it's body language or if it's just the way they talk. And like the older, it's funny, like I find like, I'm not that old, but the older I get.
Well, how old are you?
I'm 30. But the older I get, I find that the mask gets tighter on people's faces because we all got to put up personas of ourselves and stuff. That's why I love the podcast, because I just get to be my dumbass self and it's a lot of fun.
Well, that's actually how the old times, like before our young times, because we're not that old, bro. We're still young. I'm 36. You're 30. I'm an 87 kid.
87?
Yeah. What are you, 90?
94.
I moved to New Zealand in 95.
Crazy.
When I was 7.
Because you
born in Florida.
Born in Florida.
Yeah.
You still kept a bit of that
I
American
tried to
twang.
get rid of it, though.
That's so interesting.
I got made fun of,
Did you?
Well, kids.
Yeah, I can imagine New Zealand.
Kids will be kids.
Everyone will be like, what the fuck? American?
Well, they thought I was this kid from like a movie.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, what the hell is this kid? Is this kid real?
So you're from Florida. You were out there wrestling alligators
That's
at the
it.
age of
Yeah.
5. The Florida man.
I did, yeah. We had a
That's badass.
experience once in the pool. My house in Hollywood, and as a little kid, you're swimming in the pool, and then mom's like, come on out, get out of there. And you're like, why? I want to keep swimming. And she's like, well, there's a venomous snake there, so get out now, And you're like, oh, shit, And then one just came through the bathtub once, through the faucet,
No way.
It's just weird shit like that. You don't get that in New Zealand.
No, that's out of a movie, that shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they get that in Australia and shit.
Yeah,
but,
in Australia. Yeah, in New Zealand, we've managed to avoid a lot of that. I think the worst thing we get, I think the most poisonous thing we've got here might be white-tailed spiders.
Yes.
And then it will be some dangerous, deadly nightshade, I think, plants.
Ooh.
But I think that's probably it. We're pretty lucky. We don't have any.
Unless you try and go magic, mushroom picking, and you pick the wrong one.
Oh, yeah.
Or even just to say, like, I want to cook with some
you're playing with
exotic
fire.
mushrooms.
Yeah, you're playing with fire there.
Yeah, that is crazy that people take the risk.
I saw a funny comparison about mushrooms. I never thought about it before, but it's like you either eat them, they're nutritious, you get high, or you die.
Well, that's it. There's no in between.
There's no in between.
There's the 3. It's the triple.
It's so bizarre. I don't know any other vegetable or thing that's like that. But
Well, have you done psilocybin?
I have not.
Why not?
I have not. I just haven't had the opportunity.
Would you try it?
In the right environment, I'd think about it.
You ever watch the Joe Rogan podcast?
Oh, yeah.
And these guys talk about that shit?
Psilocybin.
Microdosing and...
Oh, right. Are you talking about
Psychedelics
psychedelics just in general?
Well, yeah. I mean...
Oh, no, I've had psychedelics before.
But not the psilocybin.
But not like, pure psilocybin, like DMT or anything like that.
I've never tried the DMT.
Yeah, I think I would. I just need to be like, I generally enjoy some nature, daytime, good people.
Have you seen the doco, The Spirit Molecule?
I have not.
It's based on like a thing where they had patients come in and they would actually put it through like a IV and they would talk to them after the experience, and every single person said it felt like they would have to die to get to that other realm.
Wow.
And it's like this very intense feeling, and I remember that, and it sticks with me. I'm like, I don't know if I want to feel like I'm about to die, but you have to take that jump.
I've only had that happen to me without, this is not with drugs or
Yeah,
anything,
yeah,
it's just in life. I've only had that a couple of times where I thought I was going to die. Mm-hmm. And it's a very strange, primal
Yes.
feeling that just like, I don't know how to just overcomes you, and you're just like, is this it? And then
That's
it's
adrenaline.
like, and it's just fight or flight adrenaline.
Absolutely.
But it's different from adrenaline. It's
Yes.
like, this might be the last moment. I think I've only had it happen a couple of times.
Have you heard of the science behind it?
Well, I thought it's just your body going into like, well, fight or flight to basically try and make sure you don't die.
That's it. So every part of your body that you need to like run or punch or anything gets more blood flow to it. So you think about it, it's actually preparing you for battle, right? So imagine that feeling, but I guess you would just do it in a way through whatever method besides almost dying, you know, like mushrooms or some kind of liquid or something. And I guess once that happens, there's another step to it where you do actually kind of feel like you die. And I guess that realm you are in, what would they say? It's the 3D. Right now?
Would be the fourth dimension, would you say?
That's where you kind of go to. And then the fifth, and that they reckon there's these beings of infinite knowledge that witness you saying, "Oh, you've popped up in this. You're not from around here," you know. And then they kind of give you a little bit of that info of that knowledge and like wisdom, and you get overwhelmed, and then you bring that back to you, and it's very enlightening, and it gives you some kind of, I guess, clarity that we are all connected and everything's okay, and you don't need to fear, and you know, there's something to be appreciated in just being alive itself, you know.
Yeah.
Life is a gift again.
Yeah. I think it's that's the funny thing about, well, allegedly my psychedelic experiences, right? But for me, I haven't like been through so much discovery. I've like my most biggest discoveries of my life, and I don't know, maybe for you as well, it's always been sober.
Well, that's it.
It's always like, obviously there's moments of, if you allegedly with some substances, there might be some thoughts that have come into my head, but most of the time just having fun. But then with like sobering experiences, that's when I've sort of had more of those proper life-changing, like, okay, right, there's a switch. And it's generally through the hard times. I mean, that's when we change, right? The hard times is what make people change, this is another philosophy I have at the moment with, like, I think everyone's compulsion with being comfortable. People want to feel this nice ease of just always being stable and comfortable all the time. I think just with like technology, a lot of things are so advanced now. You know, food is easily available. We don't need to do anything. Well, there are people who do, but like living in New Zealand and a lot of Western countries and a few parts of the world, we get used to the conveniences and being comfortable, and we don't risk.
Uber Eats, bro.
Well, there's that, but even just being able to go to a supermarket and select your food, to then also like. You go online to your little online world now, which I think is even more individual than before.
Or everything's available at your fingertips.
But everything's curated to you.
Oh,
your searches, your social media, the whole works curated to you.
Through the AI.
You don't need another opinion in your life unless it's what you agree with. And then I think there's just kind of we're in this weird time of like a lot of disconnect. Which I try, even myself, I sometimes get lost in it. I'm not going to say I'm not guilty of it. So I have to try.
We all do.
Try and bring myself out of like this echo chamber of just like shit that I like or things that I agree with. And like, no, Scott, you need a bit of a bit of extra spice of that, you know?
This is great. I love this stuff. I guess that is something I actually wanted to talk about, and that is building resilience. And it's about the music industry being a cutthroat industry.
Yeah,
and
it's very hard.
The only thing the outside see, the consumer, is the success. Yep. Or the failure that the artist or person themselves puts on social media or puts out there. But that's the thing. You need to be willing to fail. You need to be willing to get
beaten down.
Yeah.
You have to take
it. Get tough.
Yeah. There's no other way for it. And I think with music, especially, and for what you've been through, I mean, when I look at the bands you've been in, especially those like very technical metal, it's very outside of, anything mainstream or anything typical for most people. And I think to do that, it's like you have to know to yourself, like, I love this music so much, it means so much to me, I get so much out of it, you know, I don't give a fuck or whatever. But I think at the same time, it's just like, it's so much more than just
You know what it
a
is?
product.
For what you just said there, let me summarize, and you can tell me if I've nailed this. So what you're saying is some of these niche bands, right? There's more work with less reward, right?
Yeah, of course.
It's more technical, takes longer to write. We need to put more time into practicing. We need to have better equipment and make sure we can do pre-production maybe like 5 or 6 times before we hit the actual studio.
Yeah.
And then the best producer, and then you're putting it out to a very small audience, which is the smaller reward. You know, you're not going to get $1 million mansion because, 20 people want your prog band to be supported and they actually give you money now, which how else do you support artists? You go to the concert and maybe buy their merch, but the streaming and the consuming doesn't give them any more money anymore. So it's really fucking hard.
Yeah,
You know?
and this very interesting position now of that. And I was going to ask you, because you've got your own studio, you've done so much music across the board, from, as you do a lot of drum and bass, electronica, to the metal, to rock. You know, you're across the whole quite a lot. I'm sure you've done much more than that.
K-pop yesterday.
I saw that actually on the bit. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And I think, your first experience in the studio, how old were you? The first time you went to a professional studio?
Yes, so here's a funny story for you. So, I mean, that's a question in itself. What is a professional studio? The first recording experience I had, proper, with someone else we went to and paid, was actually the drummer of 8 Foot Sativa,
Wow.
Sam Shepard. And
Yeah.
I used to get drum lessons from him until the first lesson when he said to me, I can't teach you anything on drums. You know all these patterns I just showed you. You're sweet, but I can teach you bass. You want to learn some Cliff Burden? So I said, I need to do that from my school second instrument thing. I've been fucking learning percussion from this South American dude at Auckland University at the jazz school. And now I found out that we can't even do percussion as a second instrument because it's too similar to drums. And this is 8 months after I'm way in, And he's like, I'll teach you the bass, bro. You'll be sweet. Just play this stuff. And I played Orion, and I played Anesthesia, Pulling Teeth.
Yep. Yeah, I was going to say.
Up until the drum bit. No effects pedals, just that, nice intro. And a little bit of because I got a Guitar Pro. And I downloaded this, Jason Newsted medley from the Cunning Stunts show, where he kind of tributes Cliff, but he merges into My Friend of Misery, because it's the same kind of scale, that 12 kind of 10 feel, with the 3-string pattern. And I just did that, and I got the highest mark, and I was like, bro, that's so mean that you did that. You're a real good musician. I didn't know you could do all this. Can you also record my band Final Eve? We're like a melodic death band. We love 8 Foot, but we really love In Flames, Dark Tranquility, the melodic death stuff, At the Gates. What was another one? But we wanted to be more technical, so every now and then we would do a very weird odd time signature thing and throw in all the virtuoso-y shit, which most of these bands wouldn't do because it's too weird,
Yeah.
We were like, fuck it, we'll do it.
Fun, yeah.
And we had a singer named Drew, and he was from a band called Bloodspill. And he had a mean-as fry,
Love a good fry.
Yeah, so we released we never actually released it. But we recorded this thing 3 times with 3 different producers. But that first experience was with Sam on the North Shore in his home studio. And it was a buzz, bro. It was cool. No metronome, just me and the bro, taking turns.
You got to really rely on your chops even more without a metronome.
Yeah. I'd do the drums, and then he would lay the guitars, and then we also tried him doing the guitars on the next song, me laying in the drums, and we were like, man, this is such a cool experience. We're living the dream. We're going to be the next big band. We're going to do it.
Yeah, when you first got it, I had that too.
And then something happened, and time kind of went on, and then it got pushed to the side, and you're like, oh, shit. Oh, sorry, Sam, but thank you. And then we did another recording experience from 2 of the members from Ulcerate, a very underground, at the time, now become very big, especially overseas. Like very brutal fucking. And I was like, yeah, these guys got the capabilities. And same thing again, like we were so appreciative. We did this all this time. The production was a bit higher class because they were more modern and they really put a lot into it. And then we just never released it. But we did give the CD to all our friends. And we put it up on MySpace.
Man.
I remember MySpace.
Of course, bro. Of course.
Tom was our first friend.
Really?
Well, that's the owner of MySpace, Tom, remember?
Tom, yeah. I used to had that same picture for years.
Yeah, that's it. Was he even real? Probably not.
Probably not, yeah. Because I was going to ask you about, with a lot of that very technical music, I think you might be the most technical drummer I've had on here, especially if you've recorded very technical death metal. And like even for me, when I've dabbled in recording in my time, recording heavy music, it's very hard, especially drums. Gosh, that is...
It's the hardest.
Try and get the clarity to get it to cut through, to have it consistent, and you've got so many variables, as you know.
You need a good drummer.
Well,
the editing is a fucking nightmare.
Exactly. So I just want to ask you, when you kind of first were, got into like doing a lot of in the studio, the technical drumming, what were like the challenges you felt you had to kind of go through, even like with a producer or recording, that process? Because I just find it really, because that music, like trying to record it and make it sound good is fucking hard.
It's really hard. I got tons of tips. This is good stuff. So anyone out there watching or listening to this that wants to up their game with their drumming and maybe one day be a session drummer or just be better in the studio, here's a couple good things. For me, it was the fact that these Swedish producers wanted rim shots.
Okay.
And you know what a rim shot is?
I do.
So for anyone out there that doesn't, like, you basically hit the rim and the skin, and it gives it more of that fucking crack. But you've got to get the balance perfect. And you've got to hit it every fucking time the same, in the same place, the same velocity for that backbeat. Obviously, if you're doing your little ghost notes, you can have that. But that needs to be a must if you want that fucking particular cracking sound for metal. Otherwise, what happens is they will straight away sample replace it.
Yeah.
And they'll just say, this person doesn't know how to rim shot, like, on to the next guy, I was lucky to be told that. But only a couple months before hitting the studio. And I was 17, and this is when I joined A-Foot.
Yeah, right.
So I was, like, in the deep end, and I only did a little bit of that shit with Final Eve, right? And never until then did I do the rim shots. Because I never worked with the high-class overseas, like, this guy had done Carnival Forge, all these huge fucking bands. The best fucking drummers, and these guys like had the rim shot down, So for me, going over there, being thrown in the deep end was like the biggest learning curve. Straight off the bat, get those rim shots down, and practice them and just record yourself and just listen. Does every fucking hit sound the same, They'll probably do a sample blend anyway, but you might as well get fucking close because if you're really good, you can maybe say, hey, can we make this recording no samples, real drums? I think I've got a good fucking rim shot, And I did that with the band Wolves, which recorded with the guy Josh Hughes from the band Bridge Burner.
Okay.
They're
not sure.
So he had done a few recordings, and he at one point also had joined 8-Foot. So 8-Foot was like the band that had so many fucking members come and go. And I thought I was kind of one of those other members at one point, and I kind of did come and go at a few stages. And when I found out that someone told me on Wikipedia or some shit, I had this timeline saying I'm the longest running member.
Longest running drummer at 8-Foot.
Or just member.
Yeah, just longest running member.
Not just
of
drummer,
8-Foot.
but member. Like more than Gary in the fucking band who is the OG.
The founding member,
More than Jackhammer, the singer. And I'm just like, how the fuck did that happen? So I had been through this band, through most of these changes, but there had been a few other drummers, but somehow I'm like the longest, most, I guess, timeline of being in the band, which was like fucking weird.
Yeah. Well, what was the first show you played where I suppose, you were in local bands for quite a while, playing friends, playing local shows, you're doing the whole works.
Yeah.
What was the first show where you noticed the level up, where it was like, we need a rider from you guys, or like the live show was much more than just
That's a good
bunch
question.
of sweaty dudes?
Yeah, so I mean, what you said there, that's how we started, right? So somehow we were allowed to play in some of these bars if we had like a caregiver at 17. So we started in like K Road mainly. They had a place called Eden's Bar.
Okay.
And they had like another one in Ponsonby. I can't remember the name of that one. It's more like a pool club place. You'd be like playing all this fucking brutal metal, and then these cunts are just trying to be like, oh, they finally fucking stopped. And then another band starts, oh, fuck, another, like, what is this shit?
What is this?
We didn't sign up for this,
Yeah.
And it's so fucking loud in there. It's not designed for bands.
Yeah, it's just probably really tinny and stuff, and it's just like...
And they're just drinking,
Yeah.
playing pool in the next room
Yeah.
with just like a open door going through the next thing, so all that sound spilling in. No earplugs.
Yeah.
It's just old dudes smoking cigarettes at the time inside and drinking their probably Woodstocks and shit. But they knew we were doing our thing, and they did their thing.
Yeah, there's like mutual respect within
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Especially when you see, I tell everybody, especially when it comes to more heavy music, like you got to watch it live to understand it. Because listening to a recording, it doesn't do it enough justice. You want to see people work hard, go to a death metal show.
Yeah, especially if the crowd's vibing and you see this energy.
Yeah,
so
you just watch everyone on their instruments. And
you can see if they're tight.
You see the
like,
work.
oh,
You see the drummer bust. It's like a cardio
Walking
workout.
The drummer's got to be fit for the metal.
Yeah, you can't you can't just be a couple of like drunk dudes fucking a couple of power chords,
Somehow some of these guys, they got good at doing it drunk, and I was like, how do they do that? How do they play stone? How do they get so good at that? And then I remember asking my drum teacher, and he was like, they just do it heaps and then they get good at it. I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. But to answer your question, bro, so that's where we started, right?
Yeah.
Started in the fucking same shit we all do, the underground. Everyone's in the black T-shirts. Some of them are in other bands. Probably 90% are band members. Maybe the odd random who doesn't play instruments there, but it's just the metal scene, underground metal scene. Or whatever scene, rock scene, But the first next level one, probably I would say would be when the band Indred started playing like Zeal, where they actually had like a decent.
Yeah, when they had the like the main room.
Yeah,
you're talking about the main room, right?
Yeah. But obviously 8 Foot was like before that. That was huge. That was like some of the biggest gigs I ever done.
Yeah. So with 8 Foot. Like,
that was, but I mean 8 Foot was huge. Like they were award-winning. They had an album go gold. They did a lot of opening acts. So I remember...
They did. What was the first, I guess, the first gig that you played? That you were like, oh, shit, this is a much bigger jump than just the pool place.
Well, it kind of goes up, right? So this one went to Aussie, this first gig for me, after doing a couple local ones. Or what's the first one in Aussie? It was like a gig with heaps of metal bands never fucking heard of. Probably Frankenbach was on there, but... I didn't know of them at the time, and I fucked it up real bad. I blew it. I could not hear a thing, and then I couldn't know where I was in a couple songs, and they're like looking at me, and I'm like, I don't fucking know what's going on. And that's when I learned, like, what did we talk about before? All the failures, all the bad things make you more resilient.
Yeah.
I learned I need fucking in-ear monitors.
Yeah.
I need to fucking get a proper sound check, or this shit's gonna be like risky.
Yeah.
Up until then, I was like, this is sweet.
Yeah, just
wing it. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
And I was so upset. Probably cried and shit backstage. No one would have seen that. Threw my sticks, like, fuck this. Yeah. And then we went straight to Sweden. And, like, shit got real, And the Swedish guys like, where the fuck is the rim shots, man? And I was like, oh, fuck. And that's when I went vegan, too, by the way. 17 in Sweden. It was fucking weird.
Interesting.
But then after that, just before they fired me and got this other drummer, because they wanted the best, right? And I fucked up twice. But, hey, I was growing. I was a kid. It was like a mutual thing. There was no planning. Everything was just like a train wreck.
It's just like rock and roll.
It was Wild West shit.
And get it done. And then
I didn't even think we had a manager then. Yeah, it was fucked.
That's especially overseas gigs with no manager.
Probably no band practice as a full team. Yeah, it was fucked. Anyway, great learning. Get resilient, motherfuckers. If you don't give up after that, you'll never give up. Anyway, then we get back from Sweden, and then I won't say which member, but he looks at me and goes, we're opening for fucking Motorhead. Don't fuck this one up. And I was like, I won't. I went straight to the rock shop. Shit. Brand new double kicks.
Yeah.
Got my in-ear monitors. Begged my parents to help me with this shit and wrote out a plan to work it off with yard work,
Yeah.
Living in the bush, tons of yard work. And they're like, he really wants to do this and he's been through a lot. We'll do this last. So they always say to me, this is the last time we help you. So I was like, please, I have no job, no nothing. They helped me out. I worked it off for like 2-3 years. And at that point, I was teaching and shit, so I slowly earned it up. But we opened for Motorhead. I met Lemmy.
Fucking
It was
so
just
cool.
me and him on stage with some Asian bird he was with.
Oh, yeah?
And he goes, good to meet you, mate. And I was like looking down, because he's a little guy. He's actually tiny.
Is he? Yeah, because in the photos, he
He
looks
is little,
big.
bro.
And how he sings with the fucking
Yeah.
mic like...
And I said, nice to meet you, mate. It's an honor. And Gary from the corner of the stage looking at me, don't you fuck this up. You know? I'm like, better get out of here.
Yeah, yeah.
And we opened for Motorhead, and it was at the St. James, a massive crowd.
Yeah, St. James,
it was
bro.
that was the level up.
Yeah.
That was like,
Saint-
this shit's
Saint
legit,
James.
you know?
Yeah,
And we played good.
I remember that venue. I think I went in like once, and then
really?
when did it shut?
Did you remember what, or did you not go to a concert? You just walked in?
No, I didn't go to any concerts.
I've been to a lot of good, Opeth was good there.
Opeth played there, like a lot of
yeah.
a lot of big
Mastodon,
bands, a lot of
Slayer.
Oaths, yeah, crazy
Metal, eh?
Because when did that venue shut?
It slowly deteriorated, and then I heard...
Was it like
not a-
2010 maybe?
Ooh,
Was it before that?
maybe after, I don't know. I can't remember the exact date, but I heard homeless people made their way in. Became
yeah.
a little bit of a
Yeah.
place, and then
of a
I've
cesspool.
lately heard that they're revamping it. It's coming
That'd
back.
be great.
Wouldn't that be the best?
That would be awesome. Yeah, it's
That's the best.
yeah. I mean, King's Arms was another one as well. That was like another probably not St. James level,
Yeah.
but it's like that.
But I think
good
there's
mid-tier as well.
bigger levels. I feel like when I played at Spark Arena, that was
wow,
bigger
that's
because the
that's
stage is a
huge.
bit higher.
That was with City of Souls.
8 foot.
8 foot
Well,
fit?
both.
Oh, yeah,
both.
yeah,
But
yeah.
this particular one was even better. You ready? So it was Westfest.
Wow.
Rob Zombie, which I met at the mall. It was so cool. And he had the best catering because he's a vegan. So I was like, yo. Rob Zombie, Five Finger Death Punch. I really wasn't into them. But big band. And Megadeth.
Damn.
And then the next night
that's
was
some
all these other bands.
Big names. Yeah.
Yeah, like Korn was the next night.
Yeah.
But they turned up on our night. And I was like, holy shit, there's fucking Head. There's the new drummer, Ray. This is wild. There's Monkey. Oh, shit. So I got to meet them. But that was big. We're playing. We have a whole stage and the huge fucking crowd, and that was cool.
Yeah, that would
was
have
a
been
buzz.
that would have been crazy. That would have
Yeah.
been like yeah.
Because that's like a big
imagine.
stadium. I mean,
Yeah.
St. James is different in its own way, but then that's when shit started to get real, Because I missed any performing at Big Day Out, but I
Yeah.
always tried to go as a kid and just loved the day.
Yeah,
That was the best.
I went to one. I wanted to go to more. But,
Which one? Do you remember the bands?
Yeah, 2011 was the one I
Who was
went
on
to.
that
Rammstein and Tool. That was
Oh
a good
shit,
one.
I missed that one.
That was a banger.
Rammstein do a good show.
Yeah, it was funny because Rammstein played, and their stage show, as you know, is just wild, right?
The
People coming out of
fire.
cauldrons and fires.
Yeah,
and
they're
there's a
all
whole stage show,
pyrotechnics.
and then Tool played afterwards. Now I enjoy Tool, but
Yes.
the stage show is like obviously they don't care.
Yeah,
And,
it's
you know,
a total different
And
thing,
it's
opposite.
a bit lower level in terms
Yes.
of like it's not as intense.
Yeah.
But what I found like was it started raining as well,
Oh.
and it was cool to watch Tool, but it was like the vibe was a bit like,
shit's wrapping up.
yeah, that's what it felt
Yeah.
like, and it was like, But then I saw Tool at Spark Arena, I think a year later, and I was like, okay, this is like a million times better. Like,
Was that when
In-
the guy got
inside, they were-
COVID?
no, this was.
Do you remember that shit? And The Rock were like promoting it. If you were in the front at the Tool concert on this night,
Ah, true.
well, that's where the guy had COVID. And I was like, oh fuck, and everyone was freaking out.
Yeah, back when COVID was like the end
Yeah.
of the world.
I was convinced I was gonna die. I had like a full gas mask and shit. I was like,
Damn.
I'm gonna fucking be prepared.
Yeah, the hazmat suit and the
Yeah.
whole works just in case.
That's it. I was ready, bro. I had the supplies, canned beans and shit.
Fucking hell, yeah, doomsday
Yeah.
prepping. That's like what's that? Another New Zealand musician who was big on that. Jason Carrison. It's coming back to me. That was that must have been 2012 when the world was going to end because of what's the name?
Mayan sun
the
calendar.
Mayan calendar. That's right.
Yes,
And
the
I
Aztecs.
remember he had a whole doomsday booth. For
Yeah, some
that.
people thought it would.
Yeah, yeah.
What about the year 2000? They thought
Yeah.
the computers couldn't go to 2001. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, I remember like I was very young, but I still remember like this, like we had like the fridge magnets and stickers, and I was living I grew up in the UK for a bit, and
Oh, no
I just
shit.
remember.
Were you born there?
Yeah, I was born there. Yeah,
So you still have your citizenship and your
Yeah.
you roll with your
Yeah,
It's a cool passport.
I still got it. Yeah, but yeah, England now is it's changed a lot, and I think they've made a lot of let's just say political mistakes when it comes to not being a part of European Union and Brexit and stuff, which is unfortunate. England's all right. The world's in a very funny place right now.
Remember Brexit when they were all going for it?
Yeah,
And they're like, this new thing, Brexit.
yeah, and then it was just
And it
like
phased out. Like,
cool.
that didn't work.
Yeah,
but it was a waste of money,
But,
wasn't it?
but they voted for it,
Yeah.
so it still went through.
They brainwashed everyone.
Well, yeah, I mean, media is powerful.
Mm-hmm.
That's something else, actually. Like, especially lately, obviously, American election, I'm sure you're very across it and got a lot of family talk about it. I think the craziest thing I find about this time, more than ever than before, is just the sheer amount of propaganda from both, parties.
It's funny. It's like a roast of each other
It's
now.
insane, because you can just see what media companies are owned by who and who says what, and it's just absolute fucking madness.
Well, Musk is on Trump's side, so Twitter will probably...
Yeah, but then
then
you got kind of Google that's supports Harris, and there was that whole thing about Americans.
did you hear that?
Americans couldn't, if they looked up where to vote for Harris, they would come up with the location and where to go. But if you looked up where to vote for Trump, it wouldn't come up with it.
Makes sense. I heard other things as well. Like you'd ask Alexia some question about Trump or her, and it gave a really good answer of her, but not.
Yeah, not for Trump.
But then they quickly changed it or something.
Yeah, but for X, obviously, it's the complete opposite.
Right.
So it's interesting. I just find it such a So we said earlier before we started about I don't know. I still believe it's all just two peas in the pod.
And we promised we wouldn't get into politics.
No, we didn't. Here we are. But
we were dabbling.
I guess I wanted to talk about more the media.
Yes.
I was more interested in media, not so much the politics.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I find that just to be a point in time now, which I get a bit scared about with the amount of information out there and who you decide to pay attention to and who's actually giving a form of the truth, or if it's just
I'm all on
a
board
way to
for
sway it. So it's
Yes.
I think all the information's good, but I think it's just very hard for, people. We got busy lives. There's a lot going on. Do you have time to go through 10, 12 articles to try and figure out a version of a story and the truth?
Well, not even that. Which search engine are you using?
Which search engine?
Are you allowing the algorithm to feed your already biased opinion further in the echo chamber? Because that's how conspiracies
that's how they start building. And you get part of a forum and everyone agrees, and suddenly you got hundreds of people who think the same.
Well, do you know about the reticular activating system?
I don't. What's that?
Okay, so that's basically that whole theory where what you kind of focus on, you'll not filter that information out. So if your mate has a new car, I've seen that car, cool, sweet, nice, not really seen it before. Why am I starting to see it everywhere now? Because your brain before didn't deem that necessary. It got rid of it. But now your friend has that car, you start to notice it. Same with your view on life. If you view, I'm very lucky, you'll ignore the things that happen that are kind of unlucky and be like, ooh, there's another thing that's lucky. There's another thing that further reinforces my belief of something I already believe in. And it's based on your focus of what is filtered in and out. And that's called your reticular activating system. And that's basically what it's the subconscious, Because we can't take all the information in. We get overwhelmed.
Well, we do.
Yeah, and same with our mates, posting shit. If it's against what we agree, we'll be like, oh, fuck, idiot.
Yeah.
But if it's like, oh, yeah, they know. Yeah.
They understand.
Right?
They get it.
Yeah, I like them. We can agree on that, But how do you know you're both not actually the idiots?
Yeah.
And the other person's right, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that happens a lot in religion, politics, everything,
That's what I find really hard, I think, at the moment more than ever, just with technology. Understanding,
dividing us too.
It's so divisive. And it's just hard. I guess before you could say if, governments ran media and then there's one paper, but I suppose you're all getting the same information, but then that's like a dictatorship. So it's
who owns which outlet, right?
Well, that's what it comes down to, what we were saying before.
But it's always been the case.
I think
Murdoch was the guy who did it.
Robert Murdoch,
Yeah, so we can go down these rabbit holes. But the thing is, nowadays more than ever, we have the control on what we do consume based on using the internet. When before, like we said, with all the music, we miss seeing a lot of local stuff.
Yeah.
It's because they had the curation in the place we only could see it on before everyone was using the internet. Now it's like not able to keep us there because we go off on our own shit, you know? So I guess that is a good thing now. We just have to be smart enough.
Yeah, to know how to filter.
Yes, and
Yeah.
be educated to see signs of, like you said, propaganda, false information. I mean, some information may be true, and then it's like fact check saying it isn't, but like who owns that fact check?
Who owns the fact
so
check?
it's
yeah.
crazy.
There's
It's
layers
like the
of layers of layers.
It's like
yeah.
the fluoride, right? Like, is it bad for us? Is it good for us? Some people are like, oh, it's great for the teeth. Others like, it's a neurotoxin. It's like, who do we believe, you know?
I love this shit.
Yeah. Do I want good teeth or do I want to be like astral projecting, you know?
Yeah. What would you rather?
Or can I have both? You know? And then there's the
Doesn't do-
alternatives to fluoride. But that's the thing. You can choose your toothpaste. How easy is it to choose your water? I mean, you can, but
Yeah.
it's harder.
It's much harder.
It's expensive.
Unless you then try and do the whole try and be self-sufficient.
But then
which
that
is
itself
awesome.
is
But that in
hard.
itself is very,
You have to
very hard.
obtain that somehow.
Yeah.
Or
Because you
get
need
lucky.
land, and land is...
Maybe you get lucky
Yeah.
and you have that well and shit, you know, but you wouldn't appreciate or understand it if you weren't trying to get good water and avoid the bad water, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy that, like you said, like maybe that's what's happening. There's just so much of so many different elements contributing to our kind of getting unhealthy and messed up, and it's not just the social media, it's the diet, it's the pollution, the microplastics, you know, the toxicity of the food, maybe just the stress alone from the pressure of comparing ourselves to others.
Well,
and
isn't it
work
interesting
harder,
that
you know?
I find with technology, it's meant to improve our lives
Yeah.
and you work less. It's the complete opposite.
It is.
It's so fascinating how like those beliefs from years and years ago, when they talk even like with the internet or even like automation, is make everyone's lives easier and this is gonna make blah blah blah. But it's like there's a lot more work involved. And now, before, if you would finish your job at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night, you know, before, that would be it. There's no one's going to call you at home. But now, you know, the email, like the work is the phone. So it just, you know, you leave.
There's no
and it's,
shutting off. The world's 24.
Yeah. Whereas before, it wasn't like that. The world wasn't 24, so 24/7.
The TV actually went to static.
I know.
At what, 2 or something? Like we had
in New Zealand, what was it like? What time was it?
And it goes,
Yeah.
beep. And we're like, that's it.
Yeah.
But we stayed up and we watched that fucking. Did you ever see that? It just left it on.
I didn't see it in New Zealand, but in the UK, I think they did have it.
We had it, man.
On like, you know, it was here, I think, till it must
Yeah.
have been late 90s, I think.
It
New
might have
Zealand?
been later too. Who knows? But
Yeah.
it was a thing.
No, it was.
And that was good, I think, because it made us kind of like go,
Yes, you gotta drop because now we can't drop the technology.
Yeah.
We're just like, and I'm at the moment, I'm gonna be honest, I'm going through a really bad phase of my phone.
It is
Of
an
just-
addictive
of-
thing.
It's like the worst drug I've ever experienced. It's just like
the
this all
dopamine.
the time. But
Do
it's
you
also
have like beeps and notifications?
I do, but I've gotten so bad recently.
But
of
they're
just
bad
dismissing
for
it.
you. They're bad for you because, ooh, ping, ping, and then you.
Yeah. Oh no, sorry. I mean like the beeps to stop.
Oh, you.
I tried all these different apps to
Disabled
try
them
and
all.
like to stop it, and
Yeah,
then,
good.
And then but then I don't.
Oh shit! Yeah, you
So,
like it.
But
Yeah.
I'm trying to I'm navigating this at the moment. Just,
Put it on silent as
Yeah.
much as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to turn off all my notifications apart from text messages, the important
Nice.
stuff.
Yeah, that's
So
good.
I'm trying to.
That's what I do, yeah.
I'm trying to get better, but I've recently been quite bad.
Yeah.
So it's something I'm working on.
It's also feeling like sometimes, I don't know if it's the same for you, it is for me, like people rely on me for certain things. And I feel obligated to reply because I don't want them to feel neglected or ignored or let down.
Yeah, right.
But I need to make sure I don't let myself down by being
Sucked in.
always a servant.
Yeah.
Like the saying, you got to put the oxygen mask on in the plane on yourself first so you can stay breathing to save others. You know what I mean? So you need to look after yourself as well.
Exactly.
And take these breaks and be like, they'll be okay, I'm sure, but I need to shut off and give myself some time.
Yeah.
And like what you said before, here's a great saying for anyone listening and watching. More than ever, we've never been more connected, but we've never felt more disconnected.
Correct. Yeah.
The technology is not actually being used properly. It's not necessarily bad. It's misused. It's misunderstood. We need to be more educated and well trained to use it in a way that only serves us then destroys us. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah, and we haven't quite got there yet because it's so new. In the exponential curve of technological advances,
It's just so quick.
it's the most accelerating thing. So like we have no studies that can keep up with the progression of the damage it's doing. Which brings me to the game and the anime. You know, Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
You watch that series?
I've watched half of it, but yeah, I know the game. Yeah.
So the premise of that is like you can do all these advances, right? You can even do the neural stuff, but it's gonna cause mad psychosis side effects. So the more you upgrade and go robotic, the more you go psychotic. And you can try and do all these pills and all these things to fucking suppress it, but eventually if you keep getting more like upgrades and less human and become this fucking cyborg like Terminator thing, you eventually will snap. And they're like, you've done enough, bro. Enough augmenting. You're gonna blow it. And he's like, I can handle it. And I won't ruin the story, but basically, I feel like we're kind of going through that in a way. You know, like we're actually cyborgs. The fact we have cell phones, so we're already tapping into this man and machine, but we're not doing it in a way that's maintainable.
We don't understand its intelligence, I think, as we should. There's just so many layers to understanding the technology we've got, and now, you know, talk about AI all the time, but now even just seeing those recent Tesla robots kind of be rolled out. I mean, it's just...
Where did that come from, eh?
Is it iRobot now?
In the last month, it's like robots fucking going nuts. Yeah. It is iRobot, eh?
Yeah, it's I'm at a point where it's like, I can't remember who said it. I don't know if this is just getting older or if a lot of people who are younger than me feel like this as well, like, you know, teenagers and that with technology. Like,
they're born into this already.
But is it at a point now, because technology was really exciting, but also when I was younger it was exciting. But maybe I'm just older now where I don't think it's exciting, it's scary. But I don't know if that's just normal, because a lot of people, when people get older, you don't understand things because you don't grow up with them, you're not used to it. So I'm thinking it's like more just I'm getting a bit older and I'm like, oh, this new thing, it's scary. But someone who's like 13, 14 will be like, no, what the fuck, it's not scary.
Well, you're making connections with the movies you've seen, like, shit, there is a reason why in Terminator 2 he goes back and has to kill the fucking guy who creates the chip, which gets sold to the military, which starts the fucking Skynet, right? So we're like, oh shit, maybe it is a bad idea to build all these robots, because the movie I, Robot, they take over, and Will Smith was the only one who knew because he himself was a fucking cyborg, and it fucked him up. So, bro, that's what it is. It's in there. There's these hints in pop culture because these smart intellectuals have written these narratives based on the fact that they're sci-fi enthusiasts. Yeah. And they know it's going to fuck us up, you know? That's the thing. We're humans. Did you want another one? Sorry. Yeah, sure. And we can do the shot if you want.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do the shot, hey? The peanut butter.
It's going to be whiskey. It's going to be spicy.
Spicy.
But, you know.
I hope everyone's enjoying this.
When I have special guests over, you know, have to bring out this.
Yeah, you think I'm special? Yeah, special needs. I am a little bit strange. I did have a learning disability at the beginning of my life, you know.
Really?
I had to do all the Kip McGrath and all the... I was dumb as fuck.
I went to Kip McGrath as
well. Remember Eden? That guy? He did all the tapes at the end. Thanks for being good.
Yeah.
That was Eden.
I did all the after-school programs too.
Yes, I went to the New Lynn one.
Oh, right. I went to the Run and one in Remiro.
But you know what happened? Numberworks took over.
Oh, how dare
And then they expanded into not just numbers. And then Eden was like, this is it. I've helped as many disabled learning kids as I can, but I can't compete with the conglomerates. Fuck this shit.
I can't compete with big... It's not big pharma, it's big tuition.
Big numbers.
Dude, all cheers. Right. Awesome having you here, bro.
Yeah, man. It's been a pleasure.
Let's go.
You're a great guy, bro. Thank you.
You're fucking awesome.
Ooh, that is beautiful.
What would you like? Another mystery?
Yes, I love this.
Awesome. Shout out. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
it's coming later.
It keeps going, eh?
Keeps giving.
It's a spicy meatball.
I want to get back into your production side. How long were you a musician for until you got into production?
Great question. The funniest thing is going back to how I was using Guitar Pro. I started making random fucking songs in Guitar Pro. Do you count that as producing? I guess I was like Fruity.
Yes,
I mean, you know,
I would count it as
but it's
producing.
MIDI.
It's MIDI, and you're in. Yeah, well, I mean, but you still do that within DAWs. So,
yes. So
yeah.
this is pre-DAW for me. Obviously, they've been around for a while. And this is Guitar Pro figuring out I can bounce it out as audio, as a waveform. So I made an album with a friend of mine, and he'd do a little bit, but I was just the main obsessor of this fucking weird MIDI album of madness and technical little flexes, you know? And I was like, I'm going to create shit that's never been created in this software. I'm going to push it to the fucking limit. And I called it Corbin's Buzz.
Corbin's Buzz.
And it was a buzzy, psychedelic, weird, wacky fucking thing. And this is probably when I was 13, 14. I got into it, and that Corbin's Buzz would have been like when I was maybe 16. And that was the beginning. And then I discovered Fruity Loops, which we all
I
love.
remember when I got on Fruity Loops, and I did not know how to use it properly.
Oh, really?
At all. I was just
It's the piano
making,
roll. You got to learn that piano roll.
Yeah, I didn't learn the piano roll, so I was just making terrible drum beats, and I was like,
Yes.
I'll just make some house music.
Well, you were experimenting, you know?
I was trying it out, but I never fully understood it. I don't
Yeah.
know why. I just never quite grasped it. But when I'd see people do the mixes on it, and I was like, wow, especially like making these electronic music.
It's diverse.
Because electronic music, for me, when I first saw someone make it, I'm like, this is some fucking wizardry.
It looks so advanced,
How do you do these
all
sounds?
the knobs and all the things.
But then
and
entering all the information,
Yes.
and then it's like, but there's no instrument, but there is, but it's
how do you envision all? It's
yeah,
like,
and
it's
then I've
insane.
never heard that sound. Like, what the fuck is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
synth? That is
And then you
so
wonder how they
weird.
created it all.
How did you make that
Yeah.
sound going through like 5 patches of like reverb compressor to fucking limiter to like flanger, and you're just like, ugh.
It is magical.
It
is a wizardry thing. You're working like a mystical wizard with these fucking frequencies, like casting spells with wands and making potions, but with the computer.
Yeah.
And you know who predicted all this was Jim Morrison.
Really?
They asked him, how do you envision the future of music? Right? And he actually said this, and Skrillex, an electronic producer, put it in a song, which is perfect because this is what it's about.
Yeah,
And he goes,
yeah.
I can see one man with many computers, many machines, running loops and connecting them all and creating these repetitive cycles and like using the technology to do it all themselves. And he nailed it. And that's exactly what I guess is that thing. You're like, how does that person know how to do all that shit and create all of these textures when normally we would expect like a full orchestra or like many people and all these studios and microphones,
Yeah.
and he did it all on a computer?
Yeah. And there's like 100 tracks, and you're like,
How do you organize
how
it?
do you
Yeah.
even process 100 tracks? Because that was always something that got me. Because I remember, just basic, school rock bands do the thing. Drums, guitar, bass, singing, maybe a keyboard in there if you're getting spicy. But then,
Well, Rammstein-y.
yeah, right. But it was as soon as it got to the level of like, okay, now let's go to the real studio. I went to York. I recorded at York Street a few times,
Wow.
and that was a thing.
Dude, good on
It
you
was
for
very
getting
cool.
in there before
Yeah,
it shut.
I was lucky. I
Well,
was very
tell
lucky.
me a little bit about those projects you did there.
Oh, sweet. So, yeah, I haven't done this in a while. So I was a
That's
band
cool.
called Somatics. This is 2012, 2011?
Cymatics.
Somatics, yeah.
How do you spell that?
Sematics.
What was, did you create the name?
No, that was a band. I was the youngest in the band. So
Oh,
I
yeah,
was
nice.
18. Everyone else was their late 20s.
Well, kind of like
And,
me with A-Foot, you know?
Yeah, I
It's
guess
good.
so.
You
And
get
I
in
went
the
to
deep
York.
end.
I had my Fender Squire
17.
and 18.
18, that's
18.
pretty good, bro.
And I went in.
Fender
and,
Squire.
Yeah, I had my Fender Squire, and I came into the studio, and they'd been a band for like a few years already.
Did they tell you to leave when they saw the Fender Squire?
Here's a story for you. So, I came into York Street. I had my little shitty amp. I had my little multi-effects pedal and my Fender Squire. Now,
What was that pedal? A Zoom?
It was a Digitech RP55, absolute legendary pedal. But my gosh, it's not good for studio. And I rock up, and the guy who was the producer, shout out Hayden Taylor, he's actually an old friend. He'd worked with him a lot, but I first met him there, and he must have been, I think, 30 or something at the time, and he just sees this kid walk in with all this crap, and he's just like, what the fuck? He was not impressed. And then I remember me being the fucking like angsty kid being like, nah, it's all good. And then the other guy, he thought that the recording had finished because they already had recorded guitars and stuff, but I had some extra bits to add on, you know? And then he was like, this is fucking shit, and got real angry at the other guys. And then we didn't start our relationship very well. But I was an 18, you know, you think you're pretty cool.
It's
and
actually
shit.
a similar experience to me, and it made you tough.
It was, and then
But you had some traumatic shit for a little bit.
I wasn't. I wouldn't say I was. I never got traumatized. I was just
That's
like,
good.
what the fuck does? I was so arrogant in some ways. I was like, what the fuck? This guy, like, we're coming in here. We're paying for him. Like,
Yeah.
fuck you. Like, just do it.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
And I'm a little
Good on you.
18-year-old who thinks he knows what he's doing. No idea what anything is in
Yeah.
the studio. And I just.
I've experienced a bit of that from some 18-year-olds. I know how it is.
Yeah, it was funny as fuck looking back. But I think it was also the attitude he gave back. So
But did you end up recording?
We did. So I recorded there. I
Yes.
did quite a lot of stuff.
And did you play well?
I did. I practiced my ass off, you know, every day, full
Locked in
on.
with the click.
Yeah, the click, 4 or 5 hours, sometimes practicing in the studio all day.
Did you win them over? Nah.
Nah. I was there for like probably about a year. Because we recorded, we kept going in and out. It's a very strange
Holy
story.
fucking
So
shit.
we had a singer,
Okay.
bless his heart. I haven't spoken to him in a long time.
Singers are tough
But
work.
he was, I won't say his name, but bless his heart. He was not a bad singer, but he was very, very, very self-conscious on a very extreme level.
Well, all they need to do is search the band's previous singers, and they're going to find this guy, right?
Right, yeah, well, they might. It's a long time ago, though. Oh, but, I mean, internet, right?
But he made it into the recording.
He did, but
Wow.
what was hard was that he would just, like, the song was never good enough. Not even from the producer's standpoint, from his standpoint.
So the producer thought it was?
The producer would be like, yeah, well, I mean, by that point, they'd been there and recording for quite a while, and I came in, he was just like, I can't wait for this to be over.
I bet.
Which was totally fair. He was totally fair.
Which, like,
to think
now they got
that-
this young kid in
this
here.
young
Like,
kid
what is
recording
this?
these Fender Squire guitar parts that sound like bullshit.
Yeah.
And then
Where's this fucking SG Gibson?
and then
fucking
and
Strat?
then, and then the singer's like, no, we got to redo all the vocal takes, and
Yeah.
it was yeah. So but
After
yes.
all the editing and
Yeah,
all
I
the
know,
hard
yeah,
work.
yeah, exactly.
So no wonder that guy
Yeah,
was
he
like,
was
fuck
he was
these
getting
dudes.
really pissed, and then
Yeah.
at the time he was recording the Blacklist album because
Oh, shit.
because they
Yeah.
were there, so it was of the comeback of Blind Spot, but when they had to use the name Blacklist.
I
And so-
recorded just after that with Fornix, by the way.
Oh, true.
But you carry on.
Damn, it's a small world, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And then, so he was already stressed from doing that. So now that I think back, I'm like, yeah, he had a bit of a hard time. But yeah, but like the thing is with that singer, it was so interesting because our band practice. That's when I got really good at detail because we would spend our whole practice like picking apart songs in the craziest way. I think I've never done it ever since.
Wow.
We would have all of our amps facing each other. Like literally standing like the drummer, like the drum kit here, amp, bass amp, vocal PA, and then we like apart from the drummer, obviously, you were just facing that way.
So the drummer wasn't really hearing it; it was shooting
No,
away.
just shooting away.
But it was in line with the kit.
Yeah, it was
Or
in line
slightly
with
in
the
front.
kit.
Oh,
yeah,
whoa.
but we're all like listening intensely.
Yeah.
And then going through all the parts with like a fine tooth comb and being
Yeah.
like, no, that little note you played, change it. But
Good.
it's like this tiny arpeggio for like, you know, a bar.
Yeah.
We were getting into that level of detail.
But you
to
stopped the moment you heard something.
stop the
So you
moment.
play, and then like,
But that was with the singer.
yeah.
And
the singer.
That's what I mean. So it wasn't us. It wasn't me or the other guitarist or the bassist. It
Did
was
he
the
also
singer.
play guitar?
No.
Oh.
So it was very interesting.
But maybe he had an ear though. For
Well,
it.
well, that's what.
What do you think of those? You think he was onto something?
I don't know. I think there
Did
was.
he change it in a
I've-
good? Was it good that you changed it?
No, it wasn't because
Oh.
it was like. How would I say it? It's like when you've already finished something, and you keep ripping it apart. It's
Yes.
like okay, like the best thing I can think of is like having a car, and like you fix the brake pads and you put the car back together, but now you don't like how you put the brake pads in on one side, so you take the whole thing apart again on both sides and then put it back together. But
You can tell it's
every time you take
Frankenstein.
every time you take it apart, it gets weaker.
Yeah.
And that's what was happening with the songs.
It's all kind of held together with a bit of blue tack.
Yeah, it was and like duct. It was very odd, but it was so intense. Like
Yes.
going through. Like I don't know if you've done. You must. I mean, you're a drummer and producer, so you have.
Fornex did this.
So I just want
We
to say
tried every possibility of every fill for every song that could be imagined until we decided which one. And
That was the first one?
They played the same riff. I had to try every fucking
every
different-
fill.
and like not that one. Ooh, maybe that one. Now that you've got that one, what's that left hand doing? Get that doing a very complex polyrhythm.
Yeah.
Okay, now put a hi-hat cymbal on the left. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why we were spending hours on a 10-second, but that's what you do when you do these complex arrangements. But it didn't sound like this was the situation here. This was something entirely different.
It was interesting though, because it was also like technical with the music in terms of, you know, our musicianship, looking at everything. But these songs were already completed.
It didn't need to be
and then it would be
apart.
like 6 months later, and we'd already recorded them in the studio,
no.
and then it's like, no, we're changing these parts again.
Did he have a lot of money to like just keep throwing it?
He did all right. He had a good job and stuff, but I wouldn't. But it was more like for live. So after the studio, after we'd done everything and it was set in stone, we'd still change them.
Yeah,
and it was just getting kind of out of control. So I was in this. It was an amazing experience. Shout out Shannon Coulomb from Swerve City. He's the man. But
I love that band.
Oh yeah, Shannon's the bassist. We were in this band together. So he's an incredible musician, amazing guitarist.
Yes,
I learned so much from this guy. So we were in this band together, and I was in this band for a few years, and I like upped my game so much. But on guitar and my musicianship studio experience,
dude, we gotta have a jam, man. You gotta come to my studio.
I'd love to. It's been a while since I've actually had a proper jam. But at the end of it, I left the band because we were going through the same motions from when I kind of started.
How long did you?
I think about 2-3 years.
So you were like 21.
21, yeah.
And you
20.
left because
we kept kind of going through the same problems from like when I started, like the same conversations.
It was more frustrating than it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But it was like the conversation, say about your drum fills, right? You're talking about before. Imagine we're still talking about your drum fills 3 years later from the same song. See, that's
the thing. We moved on. Yeah, you guys didn't.
No,
so I totally get it.
So it just kind of was like, I don't feel like we're progressing or getting anywhere. And I had a lot of other music I had written, which was heavier. We were kind of like a progressive rock band, I suppose. Not metal, really.
Well, you know what we need to do?
What we need to do?
I mean, you don't have to do this, but this is what I think. This is an opinion, not a statement.
Go for it.
We need to do one more shot to that singer.
Yeah.
And we need to do a little prayer. You ready? Can we?
All right, bro.
And when we do it, I'll say it. You ready? And this will be great.
All right, bro.
Because we have to bless him. And
no, 100%.
And I hope
he was an awesome dude.
And I hope he stops doing this for his own sanity. Imagine being him, bless his heart, and never being satisfied with the song. And you know what that is?
What's that?
It's chasing perfection and an art.
It doesn't exist.
You abandon. You never finish. You have to move on to the next one. And let's say one day he finds that. And he comes to peace and he doesn't keep changing those guitar licks.
It wasn't, it was everything. But cheers, bro.
Cheers.
Man, I haven't thought about that in a long time.
Well, the question is, what did you learn out of that experience?
So much, man.
Right?
Oh my God, did I learn so much. And it was amazing. I would never take it back.
Yeah.
I would never take it back.
It made you who you are.
But just, it just helped me so much, especially recording it, rest in peace, York Street.
Dude, that's amazing. I didn't know you recorded there. You're quite lucky, especially for your age, bro.
Yeah, I was lucky.
I thought I was lucky. And you know what's really funny? It sounds like you recorded there around the same time I did.
That's so funny.
For the second Fornix album.
Damn.
So this album I've given you, we did that with Sylvia Massey and Weed.
Hey, by the way, thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure, bro.
Shout out to Corey, man. He came over with gifts.
Oh,
he also gave me some Star Wars cards, and he gave me is this like a fridge? I thought it was a fridge magnet, but
that's something special.
Special.
We'll talk about that later.
Very cool.
A bit of that spiritual shit.
Cool, man. No, that's nice. I really appreciate bringing over that.
But yeah, I mean, for you, what did you really? If you could say, for someone that's maybe going through that, a young musician. Getting thrown in the deep end, getting frustrated, going, what the fuck is this? What's the silver lining?
It's so hard to say because in the moment, you don't know if the challenge is going to pay off. I think that's one of the things as a young... Well, with anything, could be with anything, but I think if we're talking about specifically music, in those frustrating situations, repeating takes a gazillion times to making a lot of mistakes, could just be, it might be musically, it might be in other parts of being in a band. You know, there's so much to learn, especially if you want to try and pursue it professionally. You know a lot more than I do. But I would say it's like, you try and look at it holistically and be like, what is, it's so cheesy, but it is very true. What is this teaching me?
Yes.
Why do I have to go through this?
What is the suffering for?
What's this? Because if it's for the music and we're gonna get a better result,
right,
then so be it. And the other thing as well, as a young musician, that when I had my idea, I fucking had my idea. And by that I mean that was my idea. Yeah. I don't want this fucked with.
Yeah.
You know, unless the band was okay.
Yes.
Because I'm like the band, the musicians, the people in the band, they understand me. We understand the song. We're a unit. That was never the problem. Especially people like, oh, Scott, maybe try some riffs or stuff like with that guy I told you about. But when the producer came and was like, had never heard it before and was like, nah, do this. And I'm just like, hold on, bro. You don't just come in and fucking say this shit. Obviously, someone 15, 20 years experience and someone with, a few years of playing in shitty high school bands. But
yes.
But I think at the time, back to your question is like you need to try and like understand your position in the situation you're in at that moment. If you're like a teenager, and who are you working with? And if you're paying a producer, try out all of their ideas. Maybe they are not all good, but you now know how the process works better. And every time you go and record, and every time you go into the studio, or even jam, there's unlimited possibilities with an outcome of a riff, or a rhythm, or a section. And I think it's just trying to keep that open mind. And even like with friends that's what I think I've learned as well. People who don't know anything about music, who don't know anything about the guitar or know anything about producing. I listen to everyone's opinion so much more now than before.
And you know what that is?
Because people care. If people care to give you advice, regardless if it's good or not, you should try and listen and you decide for yourself. Because they're taking the time to give you the advice. They could just be like, no, it's okay. That's the worst fucking response you could ever get. I would rather have, bro, that's shit, or like, oh, that's mean. I don't want oh, yeah, that's okay. That's more insulting than either of those other options.
I've had that so many times. I'll show you this, and then like talking, and then they're like, oh, yeah, that's not bad. Anyway, and he's like, oh, okay, I won't show you my masterpiece that I've spent all this fucking time in because you're making me feel like I'm nothing. But you know what? That is part of being vulnerable. And if I can add on that, and by the way, I want to say, nicely said. I couldn't agree more.
Thank you.
Think of it this way, and tell me if you agree. Learn to serve the song and not be too attached to your ideas.
Yeah.
So you are capable of letting go and trusting in this new person saying, I've never heard this song before. Well, maybe I have at this point, but at some point they never heard the song before. And you've heard it too fucking much, right?
Yeah.
And they know what a hit is.
Yeah.
Every fucking day, this motherfucker is working with bands, trying to find the fucking, the magic, right? And they found it before, or they wouldn't be in York Street or some fucking great studio, right? These motherfuckers know what's up. Don't be that arrogant kid.
Yeah.
I fucking worked my ass off for this lick. Please let me play it. When this expert is saying, but does it serve the song? It just sounds weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try this instead and be able to...
It's so true.
You know?
And you know what? I can say I kind of was that kid, I think.
We all were.
It's because
we're trying to prove to everyone.
You want to prove. And I think especially doing alternative music, you already feel a bit of an outcast from a lot of people.
Yes.
And this is a very special thing. I think the first time I started discovering, like when I was listening to a lot of heavy bands in high school, I was like, I don't want to say I was a complete outcast, but I was definitely a bit strange.
We feel different to the masses.
We feel
Not many people listen to this music.
You feel a bit odd. You feel a bit like, disconnected at times from other people. So when this thing that's your thing, playing heavy music or alternative music, is very special to you, and this is how I felt. I feel it's very special.
Yeah.
And being in a band of people who we share, the bond, it's quite a special experience. Being in a band is like a marriage, I say.
It is a relationship.
It's like a full-on relationship with
with
a few people, and it's very. I was very, very sensitive. And I know you might have had moments like that as well, just being incredibly sensitive to it's like, oh, you're drumming there with those double kicks. It's like, no, you don't understand the double kicks. And for me, I was like, you don't understand the guitar part. But it's like, they do, and they know a lot more. But because, they're not in there every day, you feel like they have no idea. But it's like...
And that's the attachment.
You got to be, like you said, you got to disassociate yourself, and advice from anybody is really good. But as I've gotten slightly wiser with time, I realize that anybody who tries to give me the time of day of advice, I will listen, because they're taking time to give it to me. They don't have to.
Well, you know what else? Even if they have even if they have an uneducated opinion, they're still a consumer. So you can apply it to even like a family member that's not musical and go, actually, that's quite a cool point. I'll take that on board from someone that is in your field. And then you got to ask yourself, who is this song really for? Or who is this project for? Is it for a certain demographic? Maybe I should just ask those types of people. Yeah. And if they give me these opinions, maybe I'll take it on board, but not necessarily listen to them unless they know what they're talking about, Yeah. Like a non-musician. Yeah. But then they're still a listener, so they still probably have a good knack to know what sounds strange,
Yeah. They've got an idea. And that's something I think with time for me, I've just gotten, and probably yourself too, just gotten a lot better at. It's just like it's like Darren, what's his name? Darren Malarkey from System of a Down.
Oh yeah.
It's like no idea is a bad idea. And if that guy's saying it,
I fully agree. Being a producer,
he's completely correct.
And I say that to people because I want them to feel when they're in my studio, they can have that acceptance. Yeah. To be vulnerable enough to throw out these ideas and not feel like I'm going to judge them and make them feel like a piece of shit. Yeah. I may say, I don't know if that's the best idea. Yeah. But hey, we could try.
Nice. I think when I had my experiences, reminds me that it wasn't so much, let me listen and let me understand. It was just like, shit. It's funny as well because one of the guy who did my podcast with me as well, we recorded music together. He's a drummer as well, Scotty Squire. He's awesome. And
I know him.
Oh, you know him?
Yes, Surfer.
Yeah.
Yeah. What band is he doing now?
He was in what were they called?
Because he sings as well.
He did. He was in Altea, but then he quit that band.
He's a talented guy, man. Yeah, handsome dude too.
Very handsome.
You need a handsome front man.
Yeah, he's handsome. He's a fucking good screamer, and he's a really good drummer. We played in a band for a few years together.
Did you?
Yeah, we're called Anamoya.
I've probably seen some of that. You play Ding Dong?
Yeah, we played Ding Dong. We played like a lot of local venues, and what's the story? We had some potential to kind of level up, but then there was a lot of complications within the band. It's kind of how things go, unfortunately. But this is about 10 years. Whoa, yeah.
With these relationships, mate.
The marriage. Yep. The marriage was falling apart. We were all cheating on each other, and we needed to get together.
To like Metallica, some kind of monster, bringing the therapist.
Bro,
hey,
100%.
I think you guys need to take me on tour, and they're like, "Nah, man, we don't want to take you on tour."
So it's funny, but what was my point with him? I can't remember now, but he was he's an absolute dude, and he had the experience with this producer that I had as well, but he was doing vocals. Yes, and his name's Hayden. I already said it before, but yeah, because I recorded with him afterwards a lot, and he was actually really, really, really good. We became friends from tough love because we were both very aggressive to each other, and we got to learn a lot about each other. But he had the same experience with him as well in the studio. He played him the song, did like a demo, and then Hayden was like, "This is fucking bullshit." Yeah, but no, like, change verse. It's just this is just bullshit.
And you know what? At the time, it would have been hard to hear.
A bit more old school, I suppose.
It would have been hard to hear. But maybe that's what they needed to hear in the moment.
Yeah, sometimes you got to go. Sometimes it's a tough love.
Maybe it is bullshit.
I know
because I had the grand idea. I wanted to pay all the money, and I thought if I threw everything at it, it would work. But maybe it lost its. Yeah. Because that's the thing. Like, what are you doing it for?
Maybe the idea wasn't as good as I thought it was, which is very hard.
Because the attachment.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's very hard to get. I think that's something like now I feel very free of it for quite a long time. And my last really good recording experience I had was with Zorran.
He's the best.
He's amazing. So
I love that guy.
I recorded with him. And
We should talk about him.
I've had him on here as well. He
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't know that.
He's an absolute G.
We're
bro.
actually very good friends.
I love that guy.
Yeah. He's going to help me learn how to play guitar.
He's so fucking smart, and
He is.
he's so nice to work with. And I remember when we started I recorded my stuff with him, and I was like, dude, I love how empathetic and like considerate you are. But because it was just kind of my solo music, I actually told him at the time, I'm like, you need to be harsh.
Yeah. If it's shit, tell me it's fucking shit.
You need to tell me this is horrific. You need to tell me because it's just us.
Yeah.
You know, there's no bassist. There's no, apart from Scotty, who helped me out with my drums. This is my project called the Nighthawk Experience I did. And apart from that, there was no one else. So I'm just like, dude, you need to be like, Scott, change it.
If it's shit, we fucking change it.
Because at that point, it's funny because I was kind of went from bands to then the solo, and you've probably done that yourself.
Yes.
And then you get so like,
it's a lot
tunnel
of pressure,
vision and
though.
very narrow, and then you're like, hold
it.
on,
You're too close to it all.
I need other people, and that's for me with like the recording thing. Why I've never been able to like record my own stuff. I feel kind of like I need that.
You know what's funny?
I need another person.
I've gone the opposite.
You've gone the opposite. Zorran's the same. He told me.
I don't fucking make any Corenz stuff with anyone around. I purposely go at 2 a.m. to my studio.
Yeah.
Because I know there's no other bands there. And I fucking scream my fucking lungs out without even knowing what I'm going to say.
So therapeutic. Cool.
It is, but it's also so vulnerable that I could not do that if someone was there. And I don't want anyone's opinion about try this, try that, because I've purposefully isolated myself for this Corenz thing.
Yeah.
To do a unique thing that is me. And that's cool. But at the same time, you're absolutely right. When you bring in a producer, when they tell you how to sing, when they say, I can hear it fresh again, like we said, maybe it is missing this because it didn't give me that feeling that all these hits give me. But I think if we add this, it might. There's some beauty in that too.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I love to collab. But for the Corenz stuff that I do.
Yeah, that you do. You like to be completely isolated.
It's fucking
and
different.
That's cool.
And I've only just shifted that way in the last year.
True.
Before, I used to work with tons of producers. Chris Shetland, a very good friend of mine, Cog Studios. He does all the mastering.
Yeah. He mastered one of my my bands.
He's everybody. Awesome. He's the best there is.
I remember when I found out he mastered Scribe's the Crusader album, and I was like, no way, dude.
For me, it was Concord Dawn. I was like, Concord Dawn.
Oh yeah, Concord Dawn.
And the next thing you know, I was one day in my jam room before it was the studio, and Subtractor rehearsing, and they had Evan Short on guitar.
Yeah.
Who's Concord Dawn? And I was like, can I borrow you for a minute? And I brought him into my shitty fucking, at the time, the worst setup. It was so shit. With these M Audio tiny piece of shit speakers, no sub, playing him the shittiest stuff. And he's like, you should just listen to some good stuff. Start off with Bad Company.
Yeah.
And I was like, thank you so much, Evan. You're a fucking legend. I will fucking bow down to you. You know, like, thank you for your time. I cannot believe this is happening. And then the same thing happened with Chris Shetland. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this guy is my friend. He's making time for me. And I've done a few recordings with him. I actually am the drummer when Ray plays live. Ray.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yep.
I know. Yeah,
and I played drums on Bader Cell EP that is Chris doing drum and bass.
Very
He
cool.
is the best drum and bass producer there is.
I bet.
But no one knows this unless they know Bader Cell.
He's just a bit too good. He's just a bit too good. I remember when he even mastered our tracks when I was in my metal band with Scotty, and we went out to his studio in Titirangi. And I love that place. It's amazing.
I was there yesterday.
So
I teach
cool.
his kids drums.
Wow. Man, it is a small ass world.
It is. I lived down the road. That is a cool spot, bro.
But I went there and
Isn't it cool?
And then it's so cool. Like the view
and the forest,
and everything, the forest,
the jungle.
But I remember when we went there and just the experience like of that, and then even his missus, she helped us out with some marketing. Yeah, she helped us out with some marketing stuff, and then she was just like,
she's very wise.
She was fun. She was funny. She was just like, you guys are not really doing much, eh? And then I was like, yeah.
I like how blunt
you're
she
right.
can be. Hey.
Yeah, she was very right. And then she was like, it's cool what you're doing, but you need to do more. And then unfortunately the band didn't last too much longer after that. But she was very on point with it, and
she's so wise.
But what I found really like cool about the experience was then you take someone who obviously recorded and mixed it, and this is the first time I had you after the recording and mixing part, and then you give it to somebody else.
Yeah. So then, a new set of ears.
A new set of ears for the master. And
isn't that a great thing, a new set of ears?
It is great. Some people do like the whole thing, like recording one person, mixing another person.
That's what I do.
And then mastering the next.
That's what I do with Sprawl.
Cool.
Everything. And I played it in Chris's studio, fearing the worst. And he looks at me and goes, it's good. And I was like...
he thinks it's good.
I was like...
Yeah.
I got the approval from the Grandmaster.
Yeah.
But then I play him some chorus. She's like, turn up this frequency and try this bass, and you should download this patch. And I'm like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, maybe you will master some chorus. You know, like we'll master that. But for Sprawl, I'm doing everything, and I feel like it's in a good spot. I have gone to Zorran's and like we'll sit in together, and I'm like, can you just make sure this is good? And he's like, you've done well, but just give the drums a little bit more, you know?
Yeah.
Actually, that's good.
Yeah. I love his attention to vocals, because for me, it's one of my weaker points, I'd say, to be honest. Especially with harmonies. I do singing and stuff, but the harmonies I've always found quite difficult to be creative
so
with.
Fucking hard.
Some singers are just boom, but for me, I'm like...
Because you're still searching for the notes sometimes.
I got no idea. I just feel like I'm tone deaf all of a sudden.
Well, do you have Melodyne?
I've used it, of course, but it's just I've sort of struggled with figuring them out in the moment. But Zorran is just fucking like 10 out of 10, man. Every time he's like, boom, here's a harmony, bro, do this, and I'm like, oh yeah.
You know why? Because he loves Nickelback.
Yeah. He loves the Creed. He loves all that shit. He knows
the fucking catchy shit.
He does. He
is so good. And it's cool that you did shit with a lot of the same people I have, bro. That's trippy.
It's a small world. It's a small-ass world.
That's the best thing about having a yarn, having a beer, having a chat. It doesn't take long for fellow musicians.
We are in Auckland at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And also, the other thing I want to talk about with yourself is now more in the producer side of things, and I had Capricore on here. Yeah. And they did so well with their recent song. Yep. Sorry, I forgot the name of it in the moment. Jaffa, that's right.
Which is just another Aucklander. And the funny thing is, we took it on board because at the time, this is one of the many things I've done. I created a record studio with my friend from high school, Scissorhands. And that is Beat Spun.
Scissorhands.
So he's a well-known DJ, scratch DJ. He was the one who got me into Slipknot one year backstage because Sid hit him up going, let's fucking jam some shit. Yeah. And he goes, yo, I got this friend that's like OG fan, massive, like famous drummer in New Zealand. Can he come hang out? And then like he got me tickets for me and my partner at the time, and she was just stoked, and like we're behind the fucking masks on a fucking thing backstage, and I'm like looking at this fucking mask, and it's the mixing guy with the nails.
Oh, Craig. Craig,
and I'm like,
what's his name? Yeah.
Fuck it, I'm just gonna do it.
Put it on.
I didn't put it on. I touched
it,
and it wasn't a real nail.
Yeah, I mean,
I had to know.
I feel like back in the day it was. And then they and then they were like, this isn't practical.
It would have been 9 Inch Nails or some shit, you know?
Because I know, like, heavy. Corey Taylor said, like, with, like, the first Slipknot mask when he had the dreads.
Yes.
He was like, it was my real hair.
Which he's gone back to now. Yeah, seen that? Was it his real hair?
In the first one.
I didn't know that.
In the very first one,
I'm a big fan of Slipknot.
But then he said, that's not practical, and I'm like, yeah, probably not. Probably fucking reeks.
Yeah,
because the mask will smell anyway. But with your own dead
back
hair,
in the day, they were into that. They were like, let's get grimy,
let's get gross. Let's light each
throw
other
up
on fire. Yeah,
well, they threw up.
It's like Jackass on live stage, essentially.
They apparently had a jar with a dead crow in it.
I've heard this one.
And they'd like take a whiff and be like, bleh!
Yeah,
and they're like, let's play. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, we don't drink. We vomit before we play.
Yeah, but there you go.
It's so interesting, like that, with like band rituals and the things that. Did you have any band rituals?
Yes,
throughout the years. I'd like to know.
I have my own personal rituals. I always pump up before I go on stage, I do push-ups, I like jump in the spot, I'm trying to get warmed up, and I'm
do you
like...
do any skipping at all? Have you ever done much of that?
I love it. I'm really good. I can do double unders.
Yeah,
I can do
let's
100
go.
skips normal and like that.
Awesome.
And it's so fucking easy. So
And technical death metal drummer right here, boys.
So
and
that's
girls.
one thing I always was in my fitness, and I've had moments of like stagnant where I'm too overwhelmed with work, and I let myself go, but I bring it back.
Yeah.
But I've got the
I feel you on that.
I've got the fucking infrastructure of learning from really good trainers. I always spend a lot of money on PTing,
Nice.
CrossFit, all this fucking shit. F45.
Nice.
With a friend of mine, Johnny, who ended up being Adele's sound man, Pink, and
What?
Billie Eilish.
Crazy, man.
And he did some tours with 8 Foot.
Wow.
Amazing sound man. Fucking the best. So good. And his favorite was Cannibal Corpse and
Yeah.
Nile. And he did sound for them all. So he also got to live his dream. And this is cool, like to see hard workers get these great opportunities. And they fucking deserve it. That guy is such a good guy. Such a hard worker. And he's humble, you know? And he comes back here in 6-6, like, oh, you're back in town. We need you. We're doing a big gig, and we don't know how the relays work. And, like, you're the best in the world for fucking doing this shit. Can you help us out? He's like, I'll fit it in, you know. He's so fucking good, you know. He's like, oh, 660, okay. You know, like, he'll do what he does, but he doesn't tolerate the shit. Most people are like, 660, you know? And he's like, I've worked with, you know, everybody, like Peter Gabriel, fucking, he did the Roger Waters shit probably, like,
Jeez.
you know, like big fucking shit.
very, very,
you know?
the highest level that you can do within live sound. Yeah.
And he's so fucking cool. So we did the F45, we did all this shit, and I feel like as a drummer, you know, like you need to stay fit like a machine. And who was the fucking most machine out of any potential new drummer for Slipknot? Sepultura.
Yeah.
Eloy, right? He was a fucking beast. And I've always said that to my friends, and we joke about it, like, all hardcore, all metal needs to be a beast on the kit, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's a fucking physical
It's
thing.
a workout. It's a fucking workout.
Yeah.
It's very physical.
If you wear a Fitbit and calculate the amount of like
how many calories have you burned?
Oh my god, it's fucking like 4,000.
Yeah, it's almost it's more than a CrossFit workout.
Yeah, and it's more than a
much.
rock drummer. It's like even a rock drummer they said was so high because of the powerful hits.
Yeah.
But then when you start adding the blast beats and the
and
double
the
kicks
kicks.
and you do a full on hour set, dude, you're a fucking athlete.
There's no fucking around.
No.
I've always found it amazing for me, especially with very heavy music, is like with the vocalists preserving the voice and just the amount of care and thought that goes into trying to preserve to growls, the high pitch, the fry screams. There's so much involved in it, and like
Well, let's talk about that.
yeah, that's
Because
fascinating.
you're doing singing too. I'm trying to sing as well.
I sing, but
It's so
and
fucking
I can
hard,
do
isn't
really bad, and I can do inhales.
Inhales, let's hear one.
Hold on.
I can't do. I lost mine.
It's been a very, very long time.
Are you gonna move away from?
So hold on, no, because they're very quiet.
See, I had a
it's
powerful
cheap,
one.
it's cheap,
Should I try
it's-
one first?
Yeah, go.
This will be a disaster.
This is
like
gonna
I
be
said,
so much better than mine.
I said this to Kyle, guitarist of Sprawl. He's got a brutal fucking inhale. And I said to him, bro, that's sick.
Yeah.
And we put it in one of the songs, and it's so cool when he does it live. Because Nate, the singer, doesn't do it. And I said, bro, I lost mine at like 27. You ready?
Okay.
This won't work, but it might.
Yeah, try that. It's a
Nah, I
pterodactyl.
lost it.
It's like
I lost it.
mine's more like a growl inhale.
wow.
If I can do it, it's
Here
like
we
that. Oh fucking! Oh, I can't, bro. It's been too long.
That's an inhale.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Hey, better than the first one.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'm more of an exhale, like, yeah.
That's good.
Like I like
I need to
bro.
learn how to do that. 'cause
Yeah.
that's something I can't do.
Maybe I can just fucking show you what I do, and you might learn something.
Yeah.
But I'm no vocal coach. I don't want to misguide you.
But I used to do like one of my bands I was in. We used to cover "Sorry Not a Winner" by Enter Shikari, my favorite band. And
shit.
I used to do the.
I never got
inhales.
into them.
Ah, fair enough.
They're fucking good, though.
It's not for everybody. I
Well, they
understand.
got that trancey shit.
Yeah, and then they went more dubsteppy, and then they went like just everywhere
But
electronically.
creds to
Very
them
cool.
for trying.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's not for everyone.
No.
I understand.
So
But
you like that
I
shit?
love it, bro.
Well, I'm
I've been
doing
to
a new
about
project.
I've been to about four gigs of theirs in Australia, New Zealand. They played at Zeal, bro. Is it that crazy?
Yes, no, I know this because I was there.
You went?
Yep.
Damn, I was there too. It was an amazing show.
I was just about to mention the Zeal
rowdy.
thing.
It was very rowdy.
But you know what? Now that I've like gotten over this whole it needs to be brutal all this fucking time, funny enough, I'm producing this shit as like, you ever heard of Jason Richardson and Luke Holland?
Yeah, of course.
So I'm doing a thing with Gideon Voon from Shepherd's Reign.
Oh yeah, I know
which will be Gideon Voon and Corey Friedlander. Same kind of shit. Where it's just instrumental, virtuoso-y stuff. And I feel like, we need more of that shit in New Zealand.
Yeah.
There's just not enough of it,
Yeah, I feel like it's getting a lot better. I feel like in
Polyphia?
recent time. I love Polyphia. Yeah.
See, I love
that
Polyphia.
latest album. Well, it would have been 2 years ago now. God, time goes quick. But that is an incredible album.
Right?
Really, really
Playing
awesome.
God, Ego Death.
Yeah, Ego Death. What's the one that's... There's a name I can't pronounce. That's with N.
Yes.
I've totally forgot the name. Love that song. And then ABC with Sophia Black. The best technical pop song I've ever heard in my entire existence.
So hooky.
If you want to know how to make technical music with pop, that's the template. That's
Yes.
the best technical pop song I think that exists. I will stand by that.
So here's what I want to say. I fucking hated all those bands that you mentioned, like the one you said.
Yeah, and Shikari, fair enough.
But now I listen to it because at the start of the year I dated this chick named Holly that loves these bands.
Yeah.
And
you were like, ooh, yuck. Where's the metal?
there was the metal, but then I was like, oh, the emo shit's here. Yeah. Like Day to Remember. But funny enough, Day to Remember have gone heavy now,
I know
Like,
they have, yeah.
Please tell me why. Like they're putting in a little bit of like that pop punk shit. But honestly, bro, I can listen to the synth like sound design.
Yeah.
And I can listen to Enter Shikari now and be like, I see what they were doing. Like this is kind of like this is cool. Like they were before their time.
Yeah.
But back then I was like, this is lame.
Yeah,
this is too happy. And what the fuck is this?
It's very how
Great
would
for
I
the
say?
girls as well. They love it because it's like the trance.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
They don't
I-
care if it's cheesy.
I think it's more the it's so like what's the word I'm looking for? It's so blunt with the sound, but it's just like, okay, this is not straight down the middle.
Yeah.
Like, this is not metal, this isn't rock, this isn't punk, this is some funny blend. And it's just like, ooh, yuck, this isn't Lamb of God. And it's too heavy. I like DJ Tiesto, but it's like too heavy for
Yes,
that.
exactly.
And then it's not heavy enough like Cannibal Corpse. And then it's not emo enough to be like I don't know what's a good
My
what's
Chemical
it?
Romance.
It's not emo enough for that. So it's like very, you kind of alienate a lot of people
Yes.
with it, and they got a lot of bad reviews in the
That's
beginning.
right.
But I fell in love with them because I think the first song I heard would have been Sorry Not a Winner, which I didn't like to start with, and then I heard my friend played me. I really liked pop punk at the time, and they played me like Johnny Sniper off that first album. I was like, this is awesome. And then I heard Zonked off the second one, which is like a drum and bass hardcore punk song. I was
Wow.
like, what the fuck is
Yeah.
this? And I'm like, give me more.
No one was doing it, eh?
No one was doing it,
And it was sounding
it was
good.
crazy because they
Good
went
production.
open for Whitechapel.
Yeah, right.
And,
Heavy as
and
fuck.
it was like this weird English crossover hardcore electronic band. It's just like,
yeah.
and everyone who's death metal's just like, fucking what the fuck. But yeah, a very ahead of its
I
time.
remember that gig. They had one gig.
That was with do you remember the band Till Death Do Us Party?
Yes, of course I do.
Dude, what a band!
Yeah. The drummer
So
was my
funny.
friend Corey
Oh,
as
really?
well.
Fuck, this
Yeah.
whole ass
And
band. That's
the
a funny
singer
band.
Jesse.
That's a funny band.
I was
bro.
a fan. I went to all their gigs.
Oh, yeah, it's like-
I was
like-
dating a
like-
chick at the time that was friends with the guitarist Matt.
Yeah, true.
He was a newer member.
Damn.
Yeah, bro. They
That's
were
like-
really good.
That was like New Zealand's answer to Asking Alexandria.
Dude, they were really good for that style, and no one else was doing that, you know?
No,
and
no,
you see
no,
the chicks
no one-
with that
no.
like goth look, but
Yeah.
like the
The
little bit of
real
red,
scene,
a little bit of color, but not
yeah,
too much.
the
you
real
know?
scene
Still
kinda
mainly
thing, you know?
black attire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there.
Damn. Yeah. It's so like
I
remember-
dated a chick, and we ended up being together for 7 years.
True.
Our first date was
Till Death Do Us Party.
It was. But actually, can I elaborate on that?
Go.
It started at Danny, what was it? Doolin Brothers.
Doolin Brothers.
As a test
Oh yeah.
to make sure like everything was cool because it's
Yeah.
like, we never met before.
And
then
she's not completely cray or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, this guy's kind of nice. And I was like, why don't we go to this like food festival thing? And it's like a Chinese New Year thing.
Yeah.
We did that, but she had arranged a friend to pick her up from the Danny
Oh, Day Doolin's or
To the
Doolin
place.
Brothers. Yeah. Oh, right. Okay.
So she left.
Yeah.
She's with the mate, and then I get the text like, "We're here. You can pick me up, and we can hang out because you seem nice." And I was like, "Cool. Why don't we go to this gig?" And then we go to that gig, And I was like, remembering that, I was like, "What a gig!" Because she was into that stuff. Her favorite band was Devil Wears Prada.
Oh, the Devil Wears Prada, yeah.
And I never got into them. I always thought of that movie they made.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the funniest same name. I haven't watched it. It's a chick flick.
Yeah, I just...
Don't lie, you watched it.
No, I didn't.
Didn't.
I saw the trailer.
We need to watch it
together. I guess we do need to watch it. I've seen the trailer a gazillion times.
Right?
I feel like I know what it's about. I never got into the band. It was like remember like the wave of like Christian metalcore?
Yes.
It's very interesting.
Right?
Very ironic. I thought,
As I Lay Dying was the first, weren't they?
I guess they would
before all the bad stuff.
Yeah, before
happened.
all the bad stuff.
Did you hear about the latest?
Yeah. What's the latest?
Well, the latest is it's done. Like more members have left. More people are distancing.
Right. Yeah, because I remember when I first heard the news,
he's out of prison.
Because I always
back.
knew of them, but I never had like their music really in my.
I really liked them when they were popping because the drummer had just like simple grooves, but just like everything was based around the jigga jigga dun 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 jigga jigga. It was gent before gent.
Yeah,
but a bit like elementary. Yeah. So I was like, it's all
stuff.
about the double kicks, dude. And I used to practice to try and get his patterns,
God, but double kicking is so fucking hard.
Well, I mean,
I tried.
I think guitar is hard. I think double kicks is a walk in the park.
Yeah, it depends on what you're used to, right?
Yeah.
It depends there. But picking up bass though for a drummer is quite simple. It's easy. It's not simple. Easier.
It was interesting. I felt like you already know the percussive aspect. You need to learn the theory and the fact of getting the stretching and like training your hands to do a new movement. But when it comes to the rhythm, like if you're a good drummer, you'll be a decent bassist. But do you know what notes you're playing that are in the right key of the song?
Yeah.
And not some random fucking shit. You know what I mean?
Depends on the kind of percussionist you also are. If you know how to do, if you play like the marimba or the xylophone, you have an idea of pitch. But yeah, if it's just purely the drums and like, I've been around a few drummers, I'm sure you have, they don't understand tuning. Of the drums.
Well, tuning drums is fucking hard.
It's also hard.
So what I ended up doing is I did the Sweden thing, opened for Motorhead, and I just wanted to work in a drum shop. Awesome. So I worked at Drum City, but then I became a tutor upstairs.
Right.
But while I was working at Drum City for like 2 or 3 years, I tuned so many drum kits. So I got really good at it because I had tuned hundreds of kits. But it was never easy. And you never knew if you did it right. Because you'd second guess yourself. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Is this even good? And the people are like, tune it to like this. Like, but that's your opinion. Yeah,
tune it to this, like, tune it to D. And like the snare to D.
Well,
and it's
that's
like,
a whole nother topic. We never tuned to any notes, but...
People, because I did it once.
Wow.
And wow.
How did you do it?
Okay, I will say I tried to do it. Let me elaborate. So
how did you test it was right?
Because it was like, you go around, they go around like this. I was the snare. So you go, I was going around it. Yeah,
you had a tuner.
I had to tune it.
And it worked to pick up the drums.
Oh, did it?
Because it doesn't.
I don't think it did.
But what you do...
But did I try? I did.
Because you know who did this?
And then the drummer told me, said it was fine.
You know who did this and actually really fucking did this? And it was the first experience I'd ever seen where the producer said, we're tuning the snare.
Who?
And we're tuning 10 fucking snares. And you're going to try every single snare. And then we're going to make a vote for the top 3. And then decide the best one. And then we record the song. Forster Saville, who did the City of Souls album. So every fucking song, he would tune 10 different snares. And he'd use this app, which was the tritone, do, do, do. Like it'd do like the notes in the scale. Because even if the key root note is in a certain, like drop D or whatever, or B or whatever it is, you still have other notes in that scale, which will resonate in key. So he didn't necessarily have one option. You'd have 3 options. And you'd have to choose what that note was. Tune it by your ear using this fucking app. Not a tuner, right?
Right.
And then do that. And I was like, who the fuck ever thought anyone would go to that detail? And no one ever has or ever did that I've ever seen. But it was fucking cool to see that. And I just let them tune them all. And I'd like hang out in the studio, just take my time. And when he's done, he's like, let's go. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. Play a verse, stop. Next one, bring in the next one.
Yeah.
Then the next one is like, are we even going to record this song today?
Yeah. Just going through all these snares and these different tones.
Yeah.
Is this different? Is this the same? And by the end of it, you just don't even know because you've done so many different snares.
Well,
is
you
this
do
all the
it.
same note?
Well, you do it, and then you get in there and you go through them, and straight away, if it's shit, you're like, nah.
Yeah.
You're like, that's one. Nah, that's not right.
Being
and
a
then
drummer is
someone
such an
that's
investment.
Well, it's one of those things. It's like, to be a drummer, you need a place to practice. It's an expensive instrument. If you're not getting an electronic one, are you able to have a place where you can play fucking loud?
Yeah.
You're going to break cymbals. They're so expensive. You're going to break sticks. You're going to need to replace your skins. It's not just like playing the guitar or singing.
No.
There's
It's so different.
It actually builds resilience.
It does.
Yeah.
But I guess in my experience, I've got to, being in bands, I've got to build drum kits, pack down drum kits, and do a lot of that.
That's
so
cool.
I feel closer to understanding how drums work, and then the more I get involved, I'm like, nah. It's like
It's
just a lot.
It's a rabbit hole.
It's a massive rabbit hole, and you can just get so crazy with all the custom percussion, and then there's so many little bits, and then just how much money it costs to replace all your cymbals and skins, and then moon gel, and it's just like, ugh.
And then you start getting into that's the thing. It's like you've got your drums, and then you've got your drums in the studio.
Yeah,
and then you get your drums live. It's like it's all these things. Like now I need certain mics, or now I need to like do this to make sure I can record and have good quality.
I want to ask you, what's the most amount of microphones your drum kit live has been?
Live or studio?
What's the live? Ooh. No, not studio.
Okay.
Because I remember the craziest one I heard was Korn, the drummer. What's the Ray? What's his last name?
Loser.
Yeah. I remember a guy who worked at Oshi, a while back.
Yeah.
And he mic'd up his kit.
Yeah.
And said they had like 20 microphones.
Yeah.
I'm like, for a live drum kit.
Right.
Why?
Maybe they did the bottom skins.
I don't get it.
Because they could.
I mean, it is Korn.
It's not.
It is a high level band.
I wouldn't think it'd be that money for live. That's insane.
No, but it was crazy. I was
that is crazy.
19 microphones for.
Well, some could be room mics too.
But why?
Yeah, that is a bit overboard. Well, let's just think about it.
What about you? What was your most mics you've had for a live drum kit?
Well, live, nothing like ridiculous like that. Just basically every tom, snare, bottom. So that's just 2 on the snare. I don't know how many he did, but
I think he might have done. He had 2 snares.
Well, yeah, that's normal.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 on the kick. You got the
that makes sense.
The 91 inside, then you got the 52 beat outside. Overheads, maybe a room mic, maybe a hi-hat mic, which you don't normally need because it's so fucking loud usually.
Yeah.
And it's going to bleed from the snare.
It's also crazy to do that live.
That's not that many.
No, it's really not.
You know what I mean? Like one, because I've got, if I'm really going nuts, 2 floors, 2 racks. It's 4, right? Plus the 2 snares, 6. 2 on the kick, 8. And then...
Overheads.
Yep, 10, and then 11 for the hi-hat. Why would you need more? Maybe a room mic.
I don't know.
12.
I just found that
20. Yeah.
Yeah, I found that
8.
insane. I was just like, what?
Yeah.
But it's just on that level, I suppose.
Do you remember the gig it was?
Westfest, I think.
Oh yeah, I wondered if it was that.
I think it was Westfest where they did it. He worked for Everton. He was where this guy told me about it, and I was like, what the fuck?
Wow,
that's weird.
But in the studio, I've done more.
Done more?
Yeah.
I've kind of makes sense because you can do so much experimentation. I guess
that's right.
Did you have time?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
That's why.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it was at Johnny's studio we did the most.
Okay.
At one point, we did let's sample every snare and every drum. So for the snare, you put like 8 on the top. It was like, where do I fucking
hit microphones?
I was like, where do I even hit this? When you start doing more than one, it starts to take up a lot of room. Because
you get like the circle.
You get the circle. I think I took a photo somewhere. I gotta find it. I got this shit on an old hard drive.
Did you laugh about it, or were you like?
I laughed. I was like, this is amazing.
And so, what did it? That's so interesting.
We probably only used one.
But sometimes you gotta know.
We gotta find.
I gotta know.
Fuck with it, find out. Right.
Sometimes you gotta put. I remember when I went to sound school and I put a microphone in like beside the glass, like a room microphone, where you could see into the recording booth. And it's like, why would you put it there?
But that's a good technique.
This might sound shit, and it did. But it was like, but I know now.
We tried it.
I know.
Elton and I tried it with a cymbal on the ground and 2 overheads stereo. pointing at the cymbal to get the reflective, because he heard that from Greg Havier, who done a lot of Devil Skin, and apparently he did some stuff for some really big pop artists. Can't remember who exactly, but he's a drummer too.
Oh, Greg Haven, eh?
Yeah.
He did he mastered a band I was in.
There you go.
Yeah. No, he's done a lot. Yeah. He did Bullet for My Valentine.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like the first release. Like I think just before.
Are we thinking of the same guy? Maybe a different guy.
Glasses, English fella.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Bullet. I did not know that. See, I'm not a fan of them, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah, crazy.
Because they are metal of some kind. You know?
Yeah, it's not brutal enough.
It was like a day to remember kind of shit. You know?
That's fair. That's fair.
Breaking Benjamin, but I did like them. 3 Days Grace, I did like them.
The intermediate, like what
exactly.
What are they called? The entry
gateway
bands, the gateway bands. Yeah. I never quite. I think for me, Viada's Murder was probably the threshold.
That was heavy. I saw them open for Meshuggah.
I saw them. Yeah, they're very.
Yeah,
Parkway Drive.
Ooh, I didn't see that.
That was. They were amazing.
See, I got into
loved
them
this
later.
band so much.
Parkway.
Well, I love them.
Oh,
I was there to see Parkway, but then I saw Viada open. I was like, this is so fucking good.
And
this
then
is
the singer got into all that controversy, and then they got rid of him.
Yeah.
What's the new guy like? Is he good?
I have no idea.
Yeah, neither.
This is a long time ago when I saw them.
They just went
10
dead
plus years
after
ago.
that, eh?
But after I saw them, I was like,
Remember that footage? Where he's like,
oh yeah,
he's got the Hawaiian.
Yeah,
and he does that one scream.
I saw them, and I'm like, this is the best death metal, deathcore band I've ever seen. And
which gig was that?
That was at...
It wasn't the Meshuggah one.
No.
Because I reckon they were
Parkway came,
at that one.
and that was... They were at, ASB Showgrounds. Yeah, that's where they were. So the ASB Showgrounds, and it was an amazing gig. Parkway were cool. It was fun. But Viada's Murder, I was just like... I think they outclassed them, personally, at that gig. Just so tight. The music sounded amazing. Mm-hmm. Everything was so clear. I think that was the other thing I was shocked by. I never heard deathcore so clear.
Good sound engineer.
Yeah. I was saying before how hard it is, and I was like, wow, this is fucking awesome.
It's hard, especially with the low tuning too.
But yeah, especially like 8-string guitars, we're getting very muddy, drop E or something silly. And and then trying to balance for double kicks and fucking whatever.
He'd have those triggers for sure.
Yeah.
See, I never use triggers.
Yeah. Damn, bro.
Never.
Look at you. He's a purist.
Well, I mean, it's just, I could, but I just don't set it up. This is another bullshit thing to worry about. And I don't need to. I fucking hit hard. And it sounds great. And I actually have a sound that I've developed over the years with the way I approach the tuning and the beater and the pedal and the way I hit. It actually sounds like a trigger. Yeah. We'll jam it up, and you'll be like, he's right. Or you'll be like, he's full of shit. You can decide.
One or the other. It's hard, bro. I decide what I like. Yeah, that's fair. All right, bro. I might go into... Damn, this has been fucking...
We should finish up, probably. I don't even know what time it is.
Nah, neither.
We're in our own realm.
This is the fourth dimension, brother.
It is, eh?
Let's go for some quick fires.
All right.
I want to come in, and I know you've got an absolute wealth of knowledge in the music industry, live gigs, but I want to know... from you. Actually, I have two questions in this. First one is, out of all the shows you've played, from all these different bands, what is the most standout, lasting memory of a gig?
Westfest 2.
Westfest 2.
Did you go to that?
I did not. I wish I did.
So many bands. So I got the sticks from Judas Priest.
Yo!
Yep.
That's me.
The drum check was very nice. And I had previously met Scott Travis... No, Travis. What is his name? Scott Travis, like Travis Scott, eh? But in reverse. He is also was he in Hail or some shit? So I was like, this guy's a fucking legend. He's mean. So I watched that. But Lamb of God, I went into the dressing room and I introduced myself. I'm like, I'm from Foot Sativa. I'm the drummer. I fucking love you guys. And then like. Chris Adler's like, sit down, man. What's your name? And I was like, holy fucking shit. And that gig was so cool because not only did I meet all these people and like it was fucking so cool, but I watched Lamb of God, and guess who was next to me, like hanging out, and I got this recorded. Cut my life into pieces. Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck,
Jacob, what's his name? Jacoby,
yeah.
Jacoby, sorry.
So that was like, holy shit, this is the coolest day of my life. We headlined, so we played after Mayhem.
Oh, yeah, that's hectic.
and Hellhammer
That's hectic.
used my custom drumsticks.
Yeah.
Because at one point I had Tama make me some nice black with blue Corey Friedlander custom sticks. And he had no sticks. I don't know what the fuck happened. It's a bit of a shit show, that second one. And he's like, "Oh, use your sticks." And I'm like, "Yeah, Hellhammer." And then Animals as leaders.
Wow.
And then we
yeah.
played after. I was like, we technically headlined. But I was like, there's no way, because they're fucking superior in all aspects.
Yeah.
But I was like, holy fuck, what a day. It was so cool. And then we went to Ding Dong after, and a lot of the crew and stuff turned up and partied with them.
That's man.
And it was fucking crazy. That was the best gig ever. And we played good. It's on YouTube. Good sound. It was Rom on bass from New Way Home, and fuck, he's good.
Love that. Oh, that was a band I also discovered when
Yeah.
back in the day. That's what I found about Zorran and stuff. I was like, there's no band in New Zealand that was doing
They were
that
the
at time.
best.
Very cool.
And they once opened for Meshuggah. And
Yeah.
that was insane.
Yeah, Zorran told me that after he did that, he's like, I don't need to play live anymore.
Yeah. I wonder if they did Devin Townsend. I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
Do you like Devin?
Very interesting. Zoran loves him.
Yes,
watched,
I love him.
I watch a lot of his stuff and I find it very entertaining. But
Yes.
sitting down listening to it, I haven't spent enough time.
Dude, it's genius.
So I'll have to
It's so
maybe
good.
do a bit more investigating.
Yeah.
Okay, I have another one for you.
Okay.
Okay, so outside of that,
Yep.
what is like I love asking this to musicians, and asking you is even more fun.
Sure.
What is the craziest or strangest experience you've had at a show?
Yes. You ready?
Go.
Westfest 1, back to that.
Damn, back to Westfest.
You know why?
So much happened.
Mustaine
Oh.
did not shake my hand.
Yeah? It was too cool, was he?
Well, I don't know. He's like, I gotta rub in this medicine, man. Yeah. You know, he's like, he's so funny, eh? But he's like, I don't know about that. And I was like, listen, bro. This is even before I try to fucking shake his hand. I was like, we got a sick kid. He's a fan. I'm out here getting autographs. We're going to give it to him as part of this charity thing.
Yep.
Great kid, and who knows how many years. He's probably left us. Bless that kid's heart, man. Real fucking strong fighter. Had some, like, crazy disease. And I said, can you please sign this? He's a big fucking fan. I'm going to get everyone's autograph, and we're going to give it to him. And he goes, oh, I can't do that. And I was like, what? Really? Oh, okay. And I didn't know what to do. And I was like, do I leave?
Yeah.
So I kind of left. And then as I left, I heard him go, is that guy for real? Or some shit. He probably thought I was trying to get it for me and I was lying. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, dude, it was the weirdest fucking thing. It was so strange because,
It's kind of disappointing as well.
well, like I've said, I met all these fucking crazy motherfuckers, like so fucking idolized. And they were all so cool. It was actually the first real time I'd had an awkward experience where they didn't care about treating the fan in any etiquette. He was just like nonchalant, like,
I
who
suppose
the fuck
it's
are you?
like the thinking of like there's the fans in the audience and then there's me.
But then I was also a fellow musician in another band, so I wasn't just a random fan.
No, you guys,
But
you guys are working. You're working.
It was weird. Because I've always been a networker. I'm like trying to do all the shit.
You got to do it. That's how the game
But
goes.
it was the weirdest time. But the coolest thing is when they played, I had somehow befriended some of the team, like the monitor tech and the lighting guy, and they were all part of like a very tight-knit fucking Christian community.
right.
So they all had like this background and like faith and all this stuff, and very nice people. And the sound tech guy goes, bro, you can come on side of stage. You got your in-ears. I've seen that. Mean drumming. I'll give you your own pack, and you can listen to a custom mix
Shit.
of them playing.
That's sick.
And I was like, mean. And I did that. And I remember at one point I was like, I'm going to step up, get stepped up in here to his level, because he had like this little platform and then his mixing desk. And the moment I did, he's like, get down. And I was like, all right, you stepped the fucking, you've crossed the line. I was like, you fucked up. And I was like, don't fuck up again. I was like checking out the set. And I was like, this is fucking weird. But why didn't he shake my hand? Why did he sign that shit for the kid? You know, like, what the fuck? And then I think I said, I've had enough, and got the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
And then we played again at Ding Dong.
Yeah.
So I had to rush there
And, to
and set up.
Do that. I have to pay.
But it was so cool because we played in another bar, one level up. that no one knew about. And they opened that entrance backstage, and it was a secret staircase. Yeah. And you ready for the craziest part? When we played, it was all filmed, and I remember playing. I'm fucking just doing my thing, like trying to keep these kicks solid, and this huge metal fucking thing that held a full-on light collapsed right next to me. And this thing probably weighs like 200 kgs, bro. You cannot lift this thing. And it almost takes out the height. I'm like, oh, shit. And I'm just playing like, you just got to keep going, right?
Yeah, the show must go on.
That's right. Until the fat lady sings, right? And there was no fat ladies there. They were all like fit as hell going, yeah. You know, like you can't handle 8 foot unless you've been in the pit, you know? And he was like, all right, the fat lady hasn't sung. I haven't died. Keep going. I watched the footage after, and this thing was like centimeters. And I was like, oh, okay, I just cheated death then. Holy shit. So I was like, what a fucking night, eh? I could have died.
Fuck yeah,
did all this
nuts.
shit.
Yeah.
Played twice. Like, what the fuck, eh? That was pretty cool. And I haven't thought about that night in a while. It was full on, man.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah.
Then we partied as you do. You know,
yeah, afterwards you're like, I almost died.
And you're so high in the adrenaline, you can't go straight to bed. You got to crank, you know.
Yeah, you almost died, you're drinking, there's so much going on. Dave Mustaine's not signing autographs.
Yeah, I was still a bit, uneased about that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty, that's a goodie. Okay, another one for you.
Another one.
Oh, I got a few.
Okay.
In your experience of recording as such, as a drummer, what is I should already know the answer to this, but I was asking you, what's the most important tool a drummer can have before going to the studio?
I would say the ability to rehearse to the song in some kind of home studio setting that you have where you can record yourself and you can listen back and know what you're going to kind of sound like. Because when you're playing, you can perceive your timing in the moment, but you're also playing. When you are not playing and you're listening back, you can really hyper-focus under the microscope every little miscalculated timing and everything. Or this bit's not like hit hard enough, or maybe that fill that I tried sounds kind of sloppy. I'm never going to get it clean. Let's just simplify that. Or why do I even do that anyway? Or, ooh, that random thing actually was kind of cool. I should keep doing that. And then you'll kind of have your ear trained. So when you do hit the studio, you're really good. If you have never practiced to the metronome, haven't jammed to your song and recorded and listened back, and you go in there, fucking good luck, you know what I mean? Unless you've had that experience. But
yeah, unless you know.
Yeah, but most drummers with that experience, they have some means. Even fucking set up a camera on your phone, selfie mode, and just film yourself playing, either with the music only going through your in-ears, just drums being recorded, or maybe with the track, and listen back.
Right.
You know, just constantly critique yourself. Yeah.
What's something you can't eat before a gig?
Ooh.
What's a big no-no?
Well, definitely not meat because I'm a vegan, right?
Right.
But nothing too heavy. I can go in with like something that'll last. So apparently Tom Larkin always eats kumara. Or kumara.
Who's Tom Larkin again?
Shihad.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes, who at one point managed City of Souls for a while. Triple V management. He would tell my drum tech, Daryl Church, he loves kumara because it's low GI. You don't get the mad spike, and it is just keeps you going. It's healthy. It's good. I've never done that. I just feel like eat kind of clean. But yeah, you got to treat like a full-on athlete, you know?
Yeah.
So why not have a pre-workout? Some people do that, you know?
Yeah, that's interesting.
But just be wary, or you'll throw up. Don't have like some greasy Chinese food.
Yeah. Or too many coffees or something, because you'll be like, whoa.
Well, but if you got the metronome, it might be all right, you know? And you're like...
really onto it, yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those things like, just be wary and maybe do something you've done before, so there's no surprise.
I got you. What was playing with a lot of international acts and just doing so much music and touring? What would you say one of your biggest takeaways is from working with some of these high caliber bands? What's one of like your biggest takeaways you've kind of learned yourself? Or maybe in the beginning you learned.
Yeah, well, one year, A-Foot did like 153 gigs. Yeah, and we set the record for the most gigs that year, but we got no acknowledgement. Before that, I remember Dawn of Azazel. They did something similar internationally, like fuckloads of gigs. Maintenance. So I would always find a local gym, and I would work out. Don't feel like if you're going to drink all night, the next gig when you're on tour is going to be any good. But if you do that, try and repair yourself. Try and get some sleep when you can. Try and get some smoothies in. You know, lots of good nutrients. Because you, like I said, you're a fucking machine. You got to, if you're playing metal or any kind of intense drumming, you have to last. And if you're not looking after yourself on tour and you're getting too wasted and you're not trying to balance it out with some healthy eating and rest, it's going to weigh you down and you're going to get worse and worse, you know? So you gotta be careful. Yeah,
you do have to,
But
especially being a drummer, you got to be durable.
But it's tough because you want to celebrate. You don't want to go to sleep when everyone else is, and you're still amping, you know?
You're like, woo!
And it's tough because you kind of slowly change your internal clock to like night owl, you know? It's hard, man. It's really hard. But also make sure you drink shitloads of water. You're going to get the chapped lips. Oh, you're flying. You're going to get chapped lips. You're going to fucking feel, just the cells need the water. And sometimes when you're on tour, you're lugging shit. You're constantly sweating. Maybe you got to have enough electrolytes as well, not just water, you know, retain the moisture. It's full on. And pack heaps of underwear.
It's gonna get sweaty.
You may wish you did rather than going, I'm flipping these inside out. Fuck my life, you know. Is there any laundry on here? No. It's like, fuck.
No, we're gonna wash it in the sink. Oh, there's no sink.
That's it.
I'm washing it in the toilet. Oh, fuck.
But it's not dry. Fuck. I forgot. Goodbye, underwear and Timaru. I've lost so much clothing on tour.
I can only
some
imagine.
Great hoodies, man. Some of the best, fucking
some
Elements.
Some nice streetwear or something. It's gone.
So be good with your clothing. Don't lose it. Put your name in the tags. They may keep it. Be like, this is the guy from this band. Sell this shit on the black market.
What was the band you saw live, if you can think back, where you went to their show and you were like, I want to do this. I want to be a part of this.
Ooh. See, that's interesting because the band that got me into the serious let's fucking go was Metallica.
That's fair.
And when I finally saw them live and they had the flames and the songs that everybody sang.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just like, this is heavy and cool. This is like a communal thing. I was like, fuck, that'd be cool to get that big one day, you know. We're like, we can play these stadiums. We can have people singing our songs. And that's when I said, I need to fucking get to work and focus, you know. And cater the music to not just me, but people that will actually not get deterred by it being too confusing or too technical or too wacky, you know. Like, I've done the technical shit. I'll apply that to certain side projects that are that exact thing. But if you want to be like Metallica, you have to write hits. Yeah. You know?
The song.
Yes. You got to serve the song. So you might have to play a rock beat here. And then you may get a chance to get fancy, but is that going to take away from the song? Which is like what we talked about before, you know? But just the work ethic, you know? You've got to be like a fucking hustler. You got to brand it. You got to be marketing. Yeah. You have to be thinking about how to make money to put into the T-shirts. You know, it's a business.
Yeah, it's a multi-facet endeavor.
It is.
Last one. Before we go, anything you want to promote that you've got going on at the moment? What do you got? What you got going on at the moment?
There's a lot going on. I won't reveal too much, but I've created a brand new business where I've gone completely solo with the productions, and I've basically expanded, not just audio, but design and film.
Very cool.
And it's called Core Focus, which is Corey Friedlander, the same initials, you know. And I actually created that name when I was 17, and I had done a course in digital media for web design.
Yep.
And I was like, one day I'm going to use this core focus. So I've created that, but I've also got a few little side things going, some health things like some vegan protein
Cool.
food endeavors with my brother, and also some maybe thing I'm working on in micro herbs. So like alfalfa sprouts, all the stuff to give you all the nutrients, but you can essentially get a pack, grow it yourself, and it just keeps giving back, you know? Just health and wellness.
Very cool.
Yeah, but it's
cool.
very much in its infancy.
Yeah.
But I'm
It's
working
such a nice,
on
it's
these
such a
things.
cool thing to work on, though. It's exciting.
Well, I like it because I'm doing it with some family members, and we want to get healthy. And if it grows to be something big, even better. But it's a good thing that we're getting into, you know. But yeah, I just want to also promote a lot of new releases I'm doing for the band Sprawl, producing them. It's like the perfect mixture of Linkin Park and Slipknot,
Very cool.
which I love because I'm a new
Yeah.
metal kid at heart. you
Hey,
know?
same here.
I guess you could also say I'm an emo, same fucking shit. But we got to keep it heavy, you know. And also my own shit, Corenz, and I'm leaning more into the metal, like some of this pendulum stuff. My favorite artist is Metric.
Love Metric.
Yeah, you do.
Hospital
There
Hospital
you
Records.
go. Yes.
Is he still with Hospital Records? I don't know if he's
I
still.
don't know. But
I was
he's
so,
my
I
favorite.
was so into that for a while.
He is my
myself.
favorite. So I'm doing that style.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'd love to show you some time. But be ready for some New Zealand metal drum